one big donation.
Yeah, there you go.
My husband did say we should just win the lottery for Chelsea, if they're shopping memorial.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Is that what you do if you won the lottery?
I don't know.
I don't know if
I
I would,
believe.
yeah. Like
I
I
resign it, but just, you know.
I would write a check for a small amount, that sounds good. You'd resign if you won $1 million. Hi.
You resign from the select board.
If I win the lottery, yes. I
Put up
would
a new
win.
safety center or something.
Yeah.
But then you can donate the building too.
That's what my husband said.
Yeah,
He's like,
that's
and then
good.
you wouldn't have to do all this stuff.
Somebody loves
you.
doing extra meetings every week. Fun. Oh, look at that. It's 6 o'clock and I am calling the meeting to order. It is October 11th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Look at that. So tonight we're going to be discussing the possible building. So
Excellent.
who's coming up first?
This is Ben Carino,
Great.
and I don't remember everyone else's name.
We'll introduce ourselves. Can we?
Come on up. Absolutely.
Carino Construction.
Great.
You want to join me?
Come on up.
Good morning.
There's like 3 of us and 4 of you, so I
Yeah.
think we
This
should
is
get
not-
one seat. I know, right?
I'll stay right here in the corner.
No, you get comfy.
This is our,
Wow.
this is the interview package that we put together.
Oh, great.
Allows us to have something to kind of follow along, something tangible.
Look at that.
Do you want an extra one?
Leave it with
Yes,
you.
we have one member that can't be with us tonight. so
Thank you so much.
make sure it's signed.
Just do a quick introduction. My name is Ben Carino,
Great.
with Carino Construction.
I'm Stephanie Castoldi with Crino Construction as well. I'll be the pre-construction manager for this project.
I'm Evan Mullen with Port One Architects.
I'm Jeff Oliva with Civil Consultants,
Great,
engineers, surveyors for the project.
perfect.
So this is our design build team.
Great.
Carino, Port One, Civil Consultants have been working together for 20-something years, over 20 years.
That's amazing.
Many design build projects we team up on. So our team works very well together and we can finish each other's sentences most often. I was waiting for someone else to do that. Yeah, we just have a lot of experience working together. We fit well, we work well together. We're going to go over what our process is.
Okay.
So how do you want to do this interview? How is this?
You go how you're comfortable, and then we'll ask
I'll
the
just tell you
questions.
exactly what we can offer you.
I love
Just
that.
dive right in.
Just do it.
So
Let's
with,
do it.
with our design build team, so we have concepts from the town of Lee. We would just start by taking these concepts, doing a space analysis with the town of Lee, really figuring out, fine-tuning what exactly you need.
Mhm.
Then we start doing floor plan analysis, submitting that to the town, reviewing that, all diving into pricing. So this project's set up a little bit different.
Mhm.
So you have a budget in place, 1.5,
Mhm.
that's still.
That's what we talked about initially.
Sure. So you're going to hire a design build contractor and then go through budgets after that, right? Design to a budget. Sometimes we do that, design to a budget.
Mhm.
Sometimes we bid a job, design build lump sum, and then we award it that way too. So there's 2 different ways of doing it. We're
Okay.
absolutely fine with designing the building to the 1.5 budget. Haven't ran any numbers yet. And
I was
obviously
gonna
you
say,
have to.
that was from a couple of years ago. Is that still reasonable?
You're at 4,800 square feet if you're not counting the basement.
Okay.
Because that is somewhat square footage, it's not livable or occupied, but still counts.
Mhm.
So you're $300 a square foot,
Okay.
plus the side cost.
Okay.
For municipal building, you're doing pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, it's not really low, it's not really high.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So we would do our budgets to that, work through our scope of work, our design. If it comes in higher, then we just start value engineering and figure out exactly what the town needs from there. If it comes in lower, we start working more things in for the town. So once that's all in place, budgets are put together, our next step would be developing design a little bit further, renderings, and getting together, coming up with a scenario and how you want us to present to the town. So we do this quite often. Most of our projects get voted through,
Mhm.
not all, it is a town vote.
Good to know.
But the great thing is we're able to do we're able to back up our design. We speak very well to the public. We're able to answer questions. We don't get excited. We provide economical, straightforward billings. So some people in the town are everybody's gonna have different thoughts on what should be included. Budget speaks for itself. If we can fit it in, great. But we'll have the whole background. We'll have colored renderings. We'll have designs. We'll answer any questions. So we're on board for the full presentation package as well.
Great,
Town votes the project in, we build it.
great.
I think it's important to note for your sake too, that we do have some funds available. This is not,
Sure.
you know, we've got nothing, and I know in other municipalities, we've had people sort of gun shy because they're like, so you have $4,000 set aside to promote this project.
So most people don't want to pay up front. Most towns don't want to pay up front. They want the whole project to be approved. Some people have started setting aside small amounts of money to help with renderings and things like that. We're not necessarily saying that we'd love to be paid for the renderings and things like that, but certainly we'd be open to it. We're working through that.
Yeah.
But then again, we do a lot of these presentations. To your point, Andy, we are a little gun shy in some projects that we feel may not push forward through. Obviously, this is my third time here, so I don't feel that about your project.
No, we're in, we're just trying to get it to go.
It took me like 12 minutes to get here, so I'm like a neighbor.
That's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Check on it anytime.
So 24/7, we're available, and we'll give you a cell phone call anytime. If you have questions.
He just gave away your line.
Hey, not my cell phone.
Wow,
Yes.
wow, you guys, okay.
But we're all local. We're out of Portsmouth. I'm from Dover,
Perfect.
10 minutes away. I live in Rochester right now, right off 125. So we're all local, right in our backyard, which is nice.
Yeah.
Where's I going?
12 minutes from Rochester, you were going pretty quickly.
And the bridge is out. So I live off of 202.
Alright,
The bridge is out to
alright.
get to 125.
Okay.
Yeah. I drive a little bit faster than speed, and I
Alright.
really want to be somewhere.
Oh, all right. Good to know. You just told us something about yourself. All right, go on.
Just like my driving, we finish our projects ahead of schedule, typically within budget. I could lie and say everything's under budget, but you know. So how we work in our design, this is kind of an informal way of me delivering this.
That's great.
So we would present a design build lump sum project, which includes all of our structural engineering, civil engineering, planning board approvals, I assume, on this
I
project.
just have a question. Andy, do we need to get the microphone so he can be heard better?
Do you want this one?
I just realized, I'm like, before we have you say all this, and then I'm like, oh, we couldn't hear anything. And it's
Start over.
or Scott to make sure he can hear, so I apologize. Didn't mean to slow your roll. I
In the
just,
event.
So no one heard the donation.
I did.
I'm fine with that.
Great. Sorry.
Any comment?
Yeah.
So we would offer a concept of design. We agree on a floor plan, how the building could look.
Yep.
Then we put a price together with that. So we're going through the whole process of identifying how we lay out your building, input from the town, how the building would look, input from the town, we agree on how that looks. Because you do have some time if you're starting this job in 2025. So we would gather how the floor plan is potentially gonna look, there are gonna be changes, and then the elevations, the exterior, and we price that. We do a design build lump sum, so let's just say it's 1.4.
Okay.
For the information we know. Town says, yes, looks good, let's keep going. Then we start getting into design, test pits of the land, things like that. We determine if there's any unknowns that we didn't find, the town can change wall systems, locations. We can keep changing design until the next budget round. And
Okay.
submit another budget at 50%. Make more changes at that. So it's a really progressive estimate in design. You're never just waiting on numbers. You know, we don't come up with the design, price design, and then say, oh geez, we're at $3 million. So it's all progressive thing. We protect our time just as much as the town's. So by the time we get to presenting to the town with our renderings, answering any questions that the town has, that anybody from the town, public as well, we already have a budget in place that's been worked. We've all agreed upon what's in the actual scope. We agree upon how the building actually looks. So we're all invested together. We all want this project to move forward. So that's our approach on town jobs that are publicly funded yet.
Okay.
Can I build on that, Ben?
Of course.
So there are two steps that we take during that planning process with the town to try to make this successfully pass through. One of which, in the beginning, when we're trying to understand and sort of reevaluate your program that you outlined in the RFQ, is to make sure we understand your goals and your objectives for the project, so we can make sure when we design it and we go through the revisions and the review process, that we're meeting your target objectives, which I think, well, we know that you will have the best understanding of what those priorities are, and will echo the sentiments of the people in the town, which will give all of us the best luck, you know, the best odds of getting this passed quickly and easily. The other thing is that we want to have a really good understanding on what sort of the hot button issues are from some of the people in the town that might be on the fence about it or might oppose it just out of principle, so that we can sort of build that in with you, because really, when we go to March vote, we're really a team, right? So we're really trying to present this together to get it to pass. So we don't want to design a project and price a project that we think is gonna get, or that we think has any chance of getting voted down. We wanna have the best chance of getting passed. So like really understanding those hot button things, and it could be something as simple as like access to the building from the main road. You know, it's just something that could set somebody off and make them not support the project. So understanding those things early on will help us as well.
And just to add to that, I think it's important that we have Jeff with Civil Consultants here, because the way that this kind of law is, it's kind of a community setting. So the way this building interacts with other buildings really matters. So I think, you know, we'll be working with the civil engineer right from the get-go to make sure. I think that's where we'll see a lot of points of contention, is the orientation of the building, how the parking circulation works. And so tackling that right from the beginning, I think is gonna be key to cost and just, you know, appeasing people in terms of how all these buildings interact. And
That's definitely a big issue.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who want to see the whole vision, but we can't afford the whole vision right now. And so there's a lot of people who are like, well, wait a second, what about this thing that could happen 50 years in the future? So it's a lot.
Right.
So we can plug some of that information, if you wanted to the site plan about, you know, we don't, like, exactly what you said, we don't want to do the whole master plan.
Right.
But we can kind of highlight, it's easy for us to just plug things in on site logistics plans and things like that and say, this could be your vision.
We have some background material certainly regarding the town center vision. There was a town center vision or vision center committee several years back that put a lot of time and effort into studying, you know, what could be done with that central part of town, which the original town office building proposal was part of. And
Was there ever a charrette, New Hampshire charrette?
Yes, there was.
I believe that, yeah, they did.
Didn't everyone
New
do
Hampshire
that?
design a charrette.
We can show you that.
So that was from quite a number of years.
2010?
Before though, yeah.
Yeah, I think 20.
It's like all the
time.
towns surrounding did them about the same.
Yeah, there was like a big funding that went out or
I
something.
can remember that, yeah.
Charrette time.
It's great you had a potluck dinner or something.
Right.
Spend the day
Let's
talking
go
about
back.
design people.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, I think it's important to look back, why did the last few buildings, you know, we've had votes not just on the town, but also on the library, community center, like understanding what made those not happen.
Libraries are tough.
Yeah,
A lot of libraries take many, many years.
yeah, you'll notice ours is being renovated finally after, what?
Brian at Milestone told me that he thought he'd been coming to the town of Lee for 11 years. before
Yeah,
the renovation
my daughter
project
was a
came out.
baby when I was leaving her to go to meetings, and she's 16 now, so, yeah.
For some reason, libraries take an awful lot.
Yeah.
Town halls, we've been involved as a team in a couple that they still keep going. You know,
Yeah.
we give it a try with 2 or 3 times, and then, you know, we kind of see the writing on the wall. Most of our town hall projects have gone through pretty quick. I do know, like, with us, we understand the whole planning board process, you know, public speaking, and what to include in our package, what to be aware of, how to talk with certain people, where their values are still included, but they might not get exactly what they want, but we still hear it out.
Right.
Most things come down to budgeting, funding.
Yeah. And it's also interesting that the middle school passed like days before the pandemic hit. But the middle school passed, and one of the things that was so interesting was that it fulfilled so many of the needs the community had, wanting that renewable, wanting that something a little different, a little special, and also just really made sense. So
Kids are involved, things
yeah,
go
they
much
haven't.
quicker.
I know. They couldn't pass a field though for like years. This particular building, they had a really good community effort to get out, to get people to understand and really ask questions and
Sure.
delve into. So
Well, those are the community leaders we need.
yeah,
We need Anita.
yeah, there
She
you
lives
go.
in Durham.
Yeah. All right. Oh, there's that picture.
That's very familiar.
This just does feel very familiar. That was painful.
This right here. So we include that. Typically, we would have like a floor concept. We just haven't gotten that far.
Correct. This is where we are, and that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
There were some other ones I can share with you as well.
Sure.
Oh, you
I
gotta
like
show
this
my
one.
picture, right? Obviously.
No, please don't.
So what would we do? So Evan started some concept. Front of your building could look like this.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Similar to other buildings we've done locally, this is a pretty just good, efficient, economical building. It's still got nice things on it, fiber cement siding, nice trim, things like that. That's certainly an option of how your building could look.
Yeah, and I think this floor plan reflects the fact that the town has this building and also still has the historic town hall that the
Will need
end
to
goal
be
is
renovated,
to
yes.
renovate into meeting space as well. So that's why we weren't as interested, in like what Connor did in Barrington with the
That wasn't
meeting
as-
space.
meeting space,
Yeah, that's not unusual. Most towns, even cities, have a separate meeting space. Most people use schools
Yeah.
and things like that. It's a big area, it's thousands of square feet you would add to this. I mean, how often would you use it? Not-
And that's the thing, we have this building with these two big spaces, and then, and eventually those will become part more of the public safety complex needs, but there's also then if we're gonna renovate the town, old town hall, there has to be a reason for it, so to take away its need
Yep.
when the town does not wanna lose it, doesn't make sense.
And most people will say, well, why are you building a new town hall without a meeting space? There's your answer right
Yeah,
there. We
yeah.
already have a building,
That would
let's
use
make
the
it
money
useful.
towards that,
Yeah.
exactly.
And with the elementary school, Oyster River has worked pretty cooperatively with the town over the years.
Yes.
Large-scale meeting space,
Okay.
Exactly.
elections and deliberative sessions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that all happens in the middle of that grade school, which is great. So, and that's the thing, I think one of the number one things that stops things from happening in this town is you don't need it.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to put it in? And even if, I think that the filing space was like the number one problem in the last
Mhm.
vote. When we were trying to do the town library, the community center, it was very much like the big, it's just too big, it's too big, it's too big. So this is very much like the minimal,
Sure.
Storage space and parking lots.
they don't like,
Something that keeps coming
Yeah.
across in the documents that I go through.
yeah, do not like.
More
any-
storage space?
No,
No,
less.
less,
Yeah.
yeah.
There was
Weird,
a lot of
yeah.
storage space planned into the previous.
And everyone was
version of
saying, we're gonna be
Okay.
digitizing, why would we need so much storage? And that's why we're trying so hard to understand what post-digitization storage looks like. Even though we're not there yet, we're planning it.
That's right, we talked about that last time,
Yeah.
having a special file room with special mechanical systems that are kind of the way of the past now.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going more digital.
Right, right.
Which still have their own, servers still need to
Yeah.
have the proper amount of
Right.
airflow.
And there's some paperwork you have to have on hand, and that's just how it is.
Building
Yeah.
inspectors, code enforcement.
Yeah.
they're gonna
Code
have lots of
enforcement
paper.
and the town clerk and tax collector's
Correct.
office is also pretty data heavy. I mean, they
Yeah.
literally need storage space to put 500 metal license plates. and
Right.
All
Right,
the
right.
forms they need for the state.
But it's the huge rooms with air conditioning and heating and all the things
Yeah.
that are like, nobody wants
Well,
anything to do with around here.
The bigger the room, people are still gonna bring their own space heaters and things like that. So I will say, talking about heating systems, mechanical things, so this all goes in together, but we would run this particular building, estimating wise, I'd run it as wood,
Mhm.
I'd run it as ICF, I think at 4,800 square feet, perfect ICF building. Wood, we do panelized structures, we do SIPs buildings, which are pre-built wall systems that are are very energy efficient. So it's not just your stick frame wood building. I'd run that price too.
Okay.
But there's a whole bunch of different options. You're too small for steel. You wouldn't want to spend that money on
Right.
this.
How is ICF comparing to wood right now, cost-wise?
Great question. It literally depends on the job. We like ICF, we like wood frame building too, and panelized structures. The R value is very, very similar when it's all done. ICF, depending on how the concrete pricing is at the time. You asked me this 2 years ago, ICF was better priced than wood. Now it's kind of more in line. ICF might be a little bit more, but on something like this, we're pouring foundations anyway. So you're really only going up, if you do a basement, the numbers will be a little bit different, but if it's a single floor, ICF would probably be an aggressive number compared to wood.
What's
I think you
the,
could fit it in the budget.
what's the like lifespan? So we're dealing with a big issue with this building.
So you have you have HVAC issues here, right?
Well, and apparently they didn't properly tie back underneath the siding, and now we've got wet wood around every some window.
How old is this building?
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, I think if we look at what the new sheeting, wood sheething that there is out there now with the zip panels and different items like that, there's, you can go into this a lot more than I can, but there's a much better understanding about how to make and prevent that water infiltration around that, especially if it's a kind of vinyl siding or something like that, to handle and prevent that happening in the future
Yep.
with that.
Yeah, it's a priority for us to make sure that openings are protected and waterproofed well, so that you don't run into a scenario like this 20
Exactly.
years from now. So we take
Same.
measures to make sure that it's documented, and we take measures to make sure that it's installed according to the documents. So we make field observations when they're flashing windows and flashing doors, make sure that it's done according to the drawings.
Flashing would be good.
So for the last 20 years, energy requirements
I
have
think this is more than a 20 years problem. I think this is somebody did a really good job.
Yeah.
So, it's, even in 20 years, it's
Yeah.
changed how you install
Yeah.
windows and doors,
Yep.
but just poor workmanship if they're not
Yeah.
flashed. 50 years ago, 100 years ago,
It doesn't, yeah.
all windows get flashed.
Yeah.
So we have different systems that we use, but all of our windows are are double or triple flash. You have the Vicor that goes in, you have the tie back on the outside. If it's ICF, you would have the foam in the middle of the concrete, and then you have an air barrier, and then you have the concrete, you have a waterproofing.
Fire department, don't worry about it. Normal times.
Something's happening at the circle.
But we do have to, energy efficiency is a whole different level than it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
So there's a whole bunch of different things that the code inspector, clerk of the works can help check. So you not only have Carino's pair of eyes, our design team as well. We have a full-time site super on all of our projects. So all the work is being watched constantly by us. Foremen, carpenters, we're involved.
That's great.
Yeah, we don't like callbacks, first of all.
Yeah.
So even between that and then your code enforcement officer, him or her checking everything. Two, it's part of their job with inspections. There's a whole ton of energy efficiency inspections we can do. ICF is great. Wood, you can do foam, you can do rigid insulation or polyiso on the outside. There's a lot of different things we can do to make it a really, really tight building. Then you get into HVAC. So I would recommend that we engineer your mechanical and electrical systems, maybe even plumbing. Probably we can put that as a side cost to see if it's worth spending on a building this size, because we're really just talking gravity at this point. But definitely we should engineer the mechanical system. So we do design build mechanical systems where we work with one of our mechanical contractors and their engineer. So we put a price together, and then once we decide to move forward with that, we engineer that system. And then there's a whole bunch of checks and balances, testing the system, making sure it operates properly. You'll have stamped engineered plans by a third party telling you the system's going to work. Then we install, we make sure it works, we double check everything. We provide testing reports, test and balance reports, pressure tests in the ductwork. There's a whole bunch of things we
That's
can
great.
do. Your systems work properly afterwards.
That's great.
In terms of energy efficiency and pricing, as well as we're working through the budget and design, and developing the design and everything like that, we have kind of your base bid, and then we'll provide alternates for ways that you can increase energy efficiency and kind of what that would cost you, so you can see, okay, this is more of a priority than having 3 double doors. Let's reduce to 1, and let's implement spray foam insulation, and let's get that R value as high as we can. So that, it seems like that's a big incentive for the town, is to increase, to have a pretty efficient building. So that can be something that and that's the beauty of design build, is all of these small changes where it's very easy to make these changes and to reflect the budget as we go. So you can see exactly what's changing and how that affects the overall cost and where your priorities are, because everything's, very itemized. And
I think the energy efficiency is going to be a major concern and selling point in this community.
Okay.
Very
So it seems like,
energy cognizant, just completed solar array and in the process of launching the community power plan. And these things have a lot of community appeal, so surely that's going to be an important part of this building.
Yeah, the community power irrigation passed with 80-something% of the vote, so
Okay.
Okay.
big fan.
We've had good experience lately with the utility companies providing rebates through their
Yes.
third-party engineering
Which is
review.
great, yeah, that'd be wonderful. Yes, I actually talked to Eversource already, because that's Eversource land over there, right?
It is.
Yeah, they already said that they would love to work with us, and I talked to Mark Toussaint.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
So what he'll do is they partner with a third-party company,
Engineering consultants.
yeah,
They review the whole project.
MDI or ADI, something like that.
Yeah,
So
they're great to work with.
we send our plans to them, they ask a million questions, a
Okay.
lot of them about mechanical systems. So we send stamped engineer drawings to them,
Yep.
and they'll break down the whole entire package
Yep.
and submit, they'll give you money,
Energy.
kind of, they'll give you a rebate on
We
it.
fill out the
Huge
paperwork.
tax credits.
Usually owner needs to be involved in that, and then we support them with the information that
That's
they
great.
need to
Yep.
sign the documents and submit them, and then you get your.
So now you're getting a reduced cost to have more energy efficiency, which is gonna also, in the future, reduce your costs as well.
Of course,
That's
yes,
great.
yeah, they're supposed to provide tax rebates and credits and incentives back to the town after we're done or during we're done. Yeah.
Okay.
And they'll actually weigh in and say, right now, if we have bad insulation, because for some reason we couldn't afford spray,
Yeah.
they'll tell you what the savings with spray is, and sometimes they'll kick money in to offset the cost.
Wow.
It's great
Yeah.
resource.
That's really nice. Okay, great.
And that being said, when Stephanie was talking about products and things like that, we have the ability to really just implement anything you'd like into the project. If, we're looking at vinyl windows, and someone said, oh, what about fiberglass? We can easily just run those numbers.
Okay.
But
You
we're
can
also
see
the
the
type of
difference.
people, like, you can say, well, I'd like to add 3 elevators out back of this building for no real, just
Right.
use this as an example.
Right, right.
We're also the type of people that will say, well, great idea,
Yeah.
but you can't afford on this project, maybe we look at that in the future.
Yeah.
So we're
So when he
polite
says
about
that, that's a
this.
gentle way of saying
Yeah.
you're crazy, just saying
It's much easier to say, well, you can't afford it, you sure you wanna go down this?
Good to know, now we know your secret.
So we protect everybody.
No, I appreciate that.
The point is we're all a team. It's the only way these projects work. Design build projects do involve upfront time from the town,
Yep.
just like if you're gonna hire an architect, away from the whole project, you have to implement all that. But you're also talking to the building team, to the engineering team, all at once, so it's all being integrated at once. It allows the process to speed up quite a bit.
Mhm.
And my favorite thing about design build, we're checking numbers as we go. So you're
Yeah,
never
that's
just
great.
designing way outside your budget. You send the project out, you get a huge number. We control all the numbers in-house about how we're progressing through design. We'll have certain conversations, sometimes in front of you, sometimes away from you, saying, well, great idea, Jeff. It's not gonna work for the budget-wise here. So we tried, you're used to those conversations, right? I said Jeff this time.
Yeah.
I was focusing on him, he's the architect.
Yeah. Architect always gets the
Always.
trouble. My son is at WIT studying to be an architect.
Oh,
So
terrific.
I have empathy.
And that's a concern that's been expressed by the board and to the board too, of some prior projects that involve reaching out to architects first and spending a huge amount of money
I
on
think
architectural fees.
$500,000 or something?
Yeah.
That just sort of kept going with a life of their own, and I think there's a real desire to
Well, that's what happens.
not go back to that.
The problem is you get, you know, a lot of architects want to push their agenda. And we, to Ben's point about us working together for so long, we are accustomed to working in environments where we have, you know, small municipalities with tight budgets and, you know, if you're pushing an agenda like that, the project's just not gonna go through.
Right.
So our priority is to provide a design and a cost associated with that that's gonna pass.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's not as fun though.
I guess.
We can throw a whole bunch of really
For you as
glamorous
an
things in.
architect.
But if that's as far as you're doing it as an architect,
Right,
I
right.
mean, you're always gonna be doing drawings and renderings.
Right.
Never
And never
actually
build
do
it.
something in
Exactly.
fruition, so.
I appreciate that.
So we want to build your building just as bad as you do.
Yeah, that I
Basically
love.
saying.
Yeah. I can talk to you while Rebecca.
No, okay, move on.
To answer your question about energy efficiency, or to add a statement, when we left last time, there's a couple people, the public had some comments about energy efficiency, so, yeah, people would definitely be involved and have their input. I think we're able to answer most of those questions while we're here, but we expect a lot of those to come out of this project,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. We want people involved in projects, especially from
One of the builders we talked to talked about a contractor night. We try to get in local subcontractors. Is that something you guys do? I think that was somebody else, but
So we have
No.
a large network
okay.
from all around this area and further. So how we particularly operate on our design builds nowadays, so you form a team. You form a team that can do a project. That might consist of our team members. So this is your design team.
Yep.
Like mechanical. We work with a lot of mechanical contractors that are very good at design build. It's hard for us to pick one
Right.
and cross the other, so we do get them involved. I'll get 2 or 3 different prices on each trade throughout the project, so we can be as competitive as we can.
Okay.
So yeah, we actually, we don't just team, so we're much different than a normal like a house builder. We do residential, but do it in a commercial format. We just have so much more of a network, which allows us to be competitive
Yeah.
in public jobs like this.
Right.
So we certainly pre-qualify,
Okay.
bring in the right team members, but there could be 4 people that are perfect for this job for mechanical. We're gonna select out of those, one of those 4, because we're inviting people that are all qualified. We're gonna pick the best option schedule-wise. Price is a huge matter, obviously, but just manpower, working power, scheduling, all those things come into play. Some of those people will absolutely be local. Some people we may bring out of Mass, if, it's probably not large enough to bring some people out of Mass, to be honest with you. But Massachusetts contractors, I know you're kind of frowning.
Well, I mean,
Are still good.
Massachusetts people.
Yeah, true. But
I'm
we
smiling because I know how to do energy efficiency, so we have different
So, I mean,
thinking.
some of our jobs, we have people from hours away to come. This would be more local. But I don't think we certainly would ask the town. We
Yeah.
use almost every single public job. We always usually get the same answer, but who do you want us to invite from the town?
Oh, okay.
Project that we can talk to.
Great.
I'll never promise you we'll use that person. I have no problem it helps us get numbers. It helps us get more involved. So
Yeah.
we can certainly reach out to local people from Lee.
Great,
Probably know them anyway,
yeah.
at least entertain them.
Well, they're so good in Lee.
Let's
so
just
it
see,
makes
the
sense.
number one question I've gotten when people have wondered about Carino,
Mhm.
if you submitted an RFQ or an RFP, is that, how's Ben's dad?
Oh.
The third person asked me
Oh,
that
no.
That's any technical questions.
That's funny. So when I dropped off the packages to Denise, she was asking about my father.
Oh my
I
gosh.
just came from a meeting in Portsmouth with Stephanie, and they all
Yeah,
asked about my
they're
father all the
asking about
time.
your
We
dad.
were in Korea for 20 years by
Yeah,
now.
it's
So,
all still kicking around.
We'll only know you, so there you go.
but that's a good thing.
That's a great
My
thing.
fat's been around for a long time,
Yep.
still involved.
Great, great.
So, yeah, I like to think we have a good reputation for a local contractor, whether it's local or not, in this area.
Yep.
So we work really well with many subs, we pay all of our bills,
Yay.
which is great. Certainly entertain local people from Lee or surrounding, people that are currently servicing some of your contracts. Give them a chance to at least bid, and we go through schedules, payment terms, so they know all that information. We're very commercial-oriented government background, so we bill you once a month, we get paid in 30 days, we pay our subs. There's no special, that's the one problem with builders is the money flow. We have cash flow, we're bonded by the way,
Great.
so we can provide any bonding you need. But yeah, local people are great, as long as they fit in and help Carino and the town overall, then we would implement them.
Great.
I don't believe in hiring a small outfit that can't keep up with us, because it costs us a lot of money in the
Right.
end.
Right. Makes sense.
I think just the outreach would be, the willingness to talk with them would be helpful. Just, I think it makes people feel like they're being listened to, and maybe they buy into the project a little
Well, of course. Well, I mean, if I was,
stronger.
I would want to be involved if I lived in Lee as well. So, yeah, so I think you'd probably end up with a few people from Lee or at least very local on the project. I know we had quite a few local people from Barrington, we work in Dover, so, I mean, we're all in the same area. Yeah, it'd be great if we could work in some people actually from Lee.
Well, we have some great people, so.
We'd like to meet them.
Yeah. That's doing Since I'm gonna beat a dead horse, I'm looking at the roof and it's lovely, but I'm not seeing the solar. Have you worked with solar planning on roofs and?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
We have
preparing them.
an array on our office.
Oh, perfect, okay. So you know all about it.
Sure.
Perfect, all right, good.
It's very easy, so 90% of our design build public jobs have solar involved at first. Usually ends up being a separate contract away from Carino
Yes,
because of
correct.
grants, things like that,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
We can even coordinate all, we'll reach out to
It's the
everybody touches the division.
preparing, I think that, like, just not
It's-
missing an opportunity to get everything ready, make sure you have the loads, make sure you have everything. And you don't necessarily have to put it on, but it's just like, it's ready to go.
So, yeah, so we beef up our roof structure.
Yes.
Our structural engineer over here would help us with those details. We almost always add a structural detail, even on our metal buildings for solar power.
Perfect.
And someone does it after, revision comes in after we're done. Or they can do it during our project too.
Yeah, Site orientation as well, where it is on the
Yes,
site.
that was something I was
So
very
it'll
aware
be
of.
One of the first kind
Yeah.
of things that we look at, for
Yeah.
sure.
To make sure. And it makes sense, if you look at the area that it's in, there's not a single, like, to face the road dead on doesn't really make sense when nobody else is. It feels more like it would be part of a grouping as opposed to a separate facing the road kind of thing anyway. Especially when you'll have to have a little bit of an angle to the road coming in.
Yeah, I mean, we could lay out a few different spots on this
Yeah, that'd be
and
great.
how it's gonna be rotated to how the building sits.
That's great.
Now, the RFQ mentioned that you have some survey information already completed, and that, okay,
Yes, we do.
and that will be provided, obviously, to
Yes.
us.
We have limited information available from DOT regarding that intersection and
Yeah.
access to the site. too.
Okay.
Have you hired the clerk of the works?
We've not yet.
Sorry. Probably not.
Yeah.
What makes a town a great town to work with? What do you like just love?
People who want to see the end result and how to get there, and how to work as a team to get there. So, I mean, bit of an ego, love driving by and looking at the buildings we built. So that is the fun part, and how you get there. We're very particular in who we want to work with. If you quite honestly, if we were sitting here and you all seem very lovely so far, but we can be extremely picky what we go after.
Yeah, I know it's not gonna work well for you.
Yeah, so it's the whole team involvement. That's what makes a project fun and successful. That we can all sit in the same room, agree on, here's your budget, here's what you're gonna get for your budget, here's what you want us to work in, here's what we can do to work that in. It's all just a progressive process through. And by the time you get your final drawings and final budget, you're gonna be pretty happy with that at that point. And then we just build from there on out. Toughest thing is design.
Yeah.
It's usually very difficult, not very difficult, it could be a long process to make everybody happy to get all of the things included in the design. We've been very, very successful at that, and we're very good at saying, great idea, probably can't fit this in right now, but
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
You can do this down the road too, for no more cost, and it allows you to kind of beef up your funds a little bit to do that. So there's give and take all throughout.
We're used to not getting all of our way.
No, I email things all the time.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does that, right?
We're
So
working
it's how we
together,
give you
yeah.
most of your wish list.
Yep.
and how we figure out giving you the other 5% down the road.
Yeah.
So, but we love walking by our buildings, going back in, seeing people
Yeah.
interact with them, especially public buildings. So we get a lot of press from press from projects like this. They're
Yeah.
good projects.
Yeah.
The feedback we get, so that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I was gonna say, just the people that were here last time, they seemed really passionate. And so it's cool to work for people, and it's
They care.
exciting, and it's, you know, makes us proud of the work we do, and people care about their town, and so I appreciate that. It also makes, to have a clear point of contact when working with municipalities is really important in terms of design development, and, you know, these are the changes, and having kind of one person getting all the feedback from your side of things, so that we have clear direction moving forward, because as Ben said, it's, you know, there's a lot of people to appease, and that can really push project back, making all those little decisions, so.
and we can take the brunt of things that aren't included that some people want.
Yeah.
We can just answer those questions and explain why, take some of that pressure off the town.
Yeah.
And then our jobs are all secure. We have temp fencing around jobs.
Oh, great.
But that being said, we still do public walkthroughs. We schedule with the town if you want to bring people through that are very interested in the project. We just set a designated time. The site is nice and safe, and it doesn't delay any huge work schedules, so we can take the town through.
Oh,
It's a
that's
cool
great.
process.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I've learned a lot of people from the towns will try to get into project. That's why we do security.
Yeah.
But they'll hang out at the sites, and we just say, we'd love to have you come to the project.
Here's the next date.
Here's the next date.
Yeah, I love
That's
that.
usually how we handle
The
it.
thing is, they have an incentive to be involved and have
Right.
input.
Yeah.
And they wanna have input. So when things go awry is usually when a design build team and maybe some, you know, members of a committee are sort of, give the impression that they're not receptive to input, and then things start to fall apart, and then you don't have the support. So to Ben's point, having the support, being open, but having some structure to it too. You know, here's a time where you can bring people through to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Here's a time when you can provide some public input on what you'd like to see in different parts of the design, et cetera.
Yeah, that makes sense.
People are certainly passionate in Lane, as you're all from the area, I'm sure you're familiar, but being a university-based community, every third person you talk to might be a professor of engineering
Or they were, or they
Or
do
still are.
something amazing, yeah.
So the good thing is they'll know our name. So we're down at UNH.
Yes, they do.
Straight for 20 years.
Yep.
So
So true.
we probably work in your buildings with them.
They probably were my professors.
That's great. Perfect. Do you have anything else we can- Anything else we should know?
That's job specific. I mean, we kind of have a write-up on how we actually deliver your job. This is just a small piece.
Okay.
So the project approach, I mean, we already talked about scheduling. Firm believers, so general conditions is how we operate, right? That's how we run jobs, supervise jobs, it's all our in-house costs. So we do a lump sum general conditions. So if we think your project's gonna be 8 months, 6 months, whatever it is, I'm just using those dates. This project is probably 7 to 8 month job.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, no one else has said like 5 or 12, right? So, no, I look at this as probably start to finish, design, not including design. We can do an awful lot in 6 months. I think you're probably looking at 7 or 8 for this particular building. So, where was I going with that? So fast check. So our numbers are how we bid to how long we're gonna be on site. We do that through scheduling. So if we're longer, that starts coming out of us. We don't come back and say, well, hey, guys, it's taking a little bit longer. Can we have some more money? Not the way we operate. We operate at risk too. So our job is to push projects, to be very, very organized. This doesn't start until 2025. There's so much time to get through design, organized, order things as soon as this gets approved,
Right.
step on site, mid-April, start digging. Very efficient, seven months we're there. So that's what we look for. Organization's everything, communication's everything. So that's where we really come into play is just our high level of coordination and just being organized. It makes the job so much smoother and more cost effective. We talked about safety. We have safety managers. No one's been hurt in our site. 23 years, we've never had an OSHA violation.
That's
So,
great.
extremely safe company. We still practice common sense too, so we don't go overboard with some of the larger companies, which ends up making subs charging a lot more for the project. So we're still real friendly to get along with, and we operate very smoothly, but still kind of, not a family company, because we're not, but we operate like that. So people still like working with us. We get really good prices, is what I'm trying to say. Subcontractor availability, manpower, we have a large network, so we don't run into issues like that. Our job is to put the right subs and vendors on your project that are going to be successful and do it in the time we need them to do it. And have cash flow, so we're not gonna ask for deposits nonstop. We're flush with costs, we have bonding and all that. Insurance is up to date, we have better insurance than most people ever see. So we're geared up to do something like this. It doesn't cost us lots and lots of money to reorganize to try to gear up for something like this.
That's great.
That's what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's your thing.
Yeah, it is.
How about you, Andy?
I have no questions
All right.
at this point.
All right. There's a select board member hiding in the town administrator there. I was like letting out every now and then.
I was looking at your office location. You wanna be that close to the entrance?
As long as Denise is in front of me.
Yeah. She'll send everybody up. It'll be perfect.
I would just add, if you have any other questions, send them over to Ben, and if.
Perfect.
We'll
Do you wanna look at anything of your design while we're here?
It looks good. You want to talk about it?
I didn't put anything in there because I just finished it before we
Oh, okay. All right.
left. But, yeah, we have a concept that we threw together that I think has had some, it's really a conversation starter.
Okay. Perfect.
I can leave you a copy if you like.
Well,
It's by no means is it, hey, this is what we're saying
the
your
beginning.
building is gonna be.
Yeah.
It was my interpretation of what has worked in the past, combined with your program that you outlined in the RFQ, so.
that's great. And then that's like you're starting.
I've already heard a comment about something that wasn't ideal that I did incorporate into the plan, so we'll have to.
Okay.
Well, you said you didn't need any, you didn't have a need for a large conference room. There's a meeting room
Okay.
sized according to what you put in the RFQ, so.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I think there is some still need for meeting space in the town
Yeah.
office, and that was why it was in there.
Yeah, we just don't need
You don't need
this.
this.
Yes.
Yeah,
We don't need to have voting in the town office. We
Sure.
don't need to have even a room this big. It's really more meeting for,
yeah, we need to be able to
Employees.
put a dozen to, possibly 20 people.
They're just looking for a birthday party room. That's what we're really. You have a party, there's a cake. You want
Other
everyone
things
to
besides
go. Oh,
birthday
come
parties.
on.
they
Come
also
on.
have retirement.
We're
Oh, I'm
very
retired
big on
parties.
birthday parties, just so you know.
Speaking our language.
Yeah. We like birthday parties in our office.
Perfect,
We like cake.
perfect. It's a meeting party room. No, also they were discussing you could have a large map you wanted to roll out and show.
Large map. Well, there is a PCB.
That's true.
Behind the scenes, not officially, they've been talking about the possibility of a dog park
No.
attached to the building.
Oh, okay. There are a lot of things.
Shut that right
Couple
down.
counts.
Tell them no.
Everybody loves dogs.
Well, I just dropped my
That's
dog
not
off,
true.
because I didn't want him to sit on the car. Maybe I should have brought him.
I mean, right? That's.
So I do bring my yellow lab.
Okay,
who's
perfect.
Very energetic to meetings, by the way.
Perfect.
So,
All right.
yes.
Good to know. That might be a winner for some, and who knows?
The town office people would go for it. We
Yeah.
have a pack of dogs running around.
It's packed. It's pretty cute.
Can I ask you a question
Yeah.
on basement?
Yes.
Basement is something desired or not
That
desired?
is such a good question.
I believe that we desire it.
Okay,
For some of our deeper storage, obviously this technology, the server room, the
Sure.
electronic, like we'd rather not have extra space necessarily being taken up, but stuff on the first floor. And there has been talk off and on about, could a basement be used for someone to sit for an hour and type on the conservation committee computer?
Because non-regularly
Yes.
used, yeah.
I'll just point out a code
Please do.
fact that could.
Servers have to be up
That,
there, right?
yeah.
Potentially, so if you're using it for anything other than mechanical space, you need to provide accessibility to it.
Yeah, that's one the thing we keep going around and around.
Well, there's an
They
elevator
have
in
an
this
elevator
picture.
fitted in the alternate.
Yeah,
Is that accessibility?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know.
I took mine out because I figured
It
that,
wasn't, so
Yeah,
if you were just using it as storage for files, what's the
probably still
accessibility?
would need to.
Still need an
Yeah.
elevator.
Since you're a town hall public
Yeah,
building.
public building, exactly.
I think the storage piece is important. We have even just rudimentary stuff stashed in various locations. I mean, tables for the country breakfast, the ag commission stuff, the
does it have to
conservation
be in
commission
this
stuff.
building? Can it go in?
Well, I will tell you something, so I think we talked about this a little bit last time. With an elevator, you can ask the state for a variance. We've been successful in getting them before.
Mhm.
Certainly on town letterhead would look really good, even coming from your code enforcement officer. But you can ask for a variance about why you don't need an elevator, how it's not publicly gonna be used down there, there is access down there. If someone with, a disability can go on the first floor, so there are ways around it.
I think that the one thing that we have been trying very much as a town to do is to not ask for variances, just because if something is accessible, we wanna make sure that we can hire whatever employee, not be like, oh, you can't because you're gonna need to go in the basement to get things, or you can't because you can't do the stairs, or whatever. So trying to be very aware. Yeah, and so we don't necessarily wanna go that route. I think we've gone back and forth a lot, because for me, I'm like, wouldn't it be just make it a little bigger and have more storage in the middle? I mean, wouldn't that be cheaper? And we've gone back and forth because we don't know the prices, which what I love about what you're saying. Right, is that we can say, show me what it looks like this way and show me what it looks like that way.
Sure.
I think that they liked the idea of being able to build, if you needed more space, you could grow into that. And if you had files in the basement, often they're big, heavy things you have to move. So asking someone to carry that up and downstairs is gonna make that not nearly as usable as if it's, so, yeah, we've been wondering, like, what is the right thing? I have zero attachment to how that goes, it's just what's cost effective.
The advantage to having a basement with nothing else in it is you can put all of your mechanical and IT and everything else down there.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
So, hot water tanks, furnaces, boilers, whatever, inverters for solar, everything. So you can utilize that space.
Yep.
A cost-effective means of meeting the spirit of the code would be to use a Lula, which is a limited use, limited
We've
access.
talked about that a lot, yeah.
So it's like a miniature, well, just a smaller scale version
Right.
of an elevator.
Yeah.
We do that often in projects.
Yeah, we've
like
talked about
this.
that because that was the only option really that would work for the town, the old town hall.
Oh,
It's like but we weren't sure, it depends on, like you said, what's gonna be down there.
Sure.
And what I think we really don't wanna do is, oh gee, I really wish we had done this when we started. Like if it's costs more upfront now, but we're gonna end up needing an elevator because we're gonna turn, whatever, then let's just build it right the
What
first
we
time.
have done in concepts is we have allocated a space that could be used as a shaft for
Okay.
the future. So, for example, we would reserve an area, call it, 7 feet by 6.5 feet. That would be the appropriate size for a Lula shaft.
Yep.
And you could use it for storage or whatever, as a supply closet. And then down the road, should you decide to convert that basement into usable space,
Yep.
the shaft is already there, you cut the hole in the floor, the structure's already there to accommodate that hole in the floor. Your elevator machine room is down in the basement anyway,
Yeah.
so.
This building was built, only the first floor was accessible and useful, because we couldn't afford an elevator at the time. And then they waited, and then it didn't pass the first time, and then finally the elevator got added in. But yes, exactly, they had the space, they were ready to go, but there wasn't enough money at the time, so they planned ahead, so that's an option too. Interesting.
Yeah, we could run numbers a few different ways. Maybe a larger building, storage off the back, basement, so.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing. You know what you're doing, we're open to ideas.
We
just
can
trying
look
to
at
what has
things
to happen.
in different ways. It's
Yeah.
not just we have one site vision, you're getting a 4,800 square foot building with one floor.
Right.
We're not going to, we can entertain different things.
Which is great, and that really gives us the knowledge to make sure we're making the best choices there. And we can say, this
Yeah.
is why, we chose this.
Well, being educated on actually being able to provide answers, and this is what you can get for all these items,
Yeah,
gives you,
it helps a lot.
yeah, helps the decision.
Yeah, and a couple test pits where the building might go might indicate that you have groundwater 2 feet down, and there goes the basement.
I have heard that
No, I
I have heard that it's like dreamy sand
Yeah.
perfection.
Every piece of land.
Every piece
before
of,
we
yeah,
touch it.
exactly.
It's the best thought you're ever gonna say.
I've
And then
said
we
that too.
Do this.
Yeah. I'm like, how is that
The
not
person
true?
saying it wouldn't say it just to say it.
No, this person is pretty reliable,
Yeah.
so we'll see, we'll see. But still, you don't always know.
Are they an excavator?
No, they just spend a lot of time learning all the things, so. Good MIT degree, so. All right.
That's it.
You guys are amazing, thank you
Thanks
for
for
coming.
joining.
Thank you so much for the information. I wanna go to this building.
I want summer back.
Nice. You want summer back?
I want summer back, yeah.
It was such a nice summer.
I want hay summer, how's that?
Yeah, but not so much rain.
What a good one.
He's right.
Yeah.
Kind of scary.
Is that your version? That's different
Yeah,
from this
well,
version?
like I said, well, this is a conversation starter. Right? These are, so there's some elements here that have worked well for us, like for example, smaller inner lobbies for audible privacy, for conversations between the people.
Yeah, instead of just having it out there, yeah.
Separating the departments from the public access.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, we like that.
This over here is a meeting room that could be accessed after hours through this door here.
That's great.
So
Must be
the
locked.
idea is, right, so you could lock this inner door here, and this is a secure point as well. So after hours meetings could take place and they have access to a fully
Which is
compliant
similar to what
bathroom
we have
there.
now without, not quite as secure.
Which I love because you need sometimes to have that extra meeting room, it's great, and you don't have to worry about anything else. I think that's
Right.
brilliant. Yeah,
Right.
that's really good. I love that you can get to all this stuff too.
The other thing that's nice is that we know that you'll need at least 2 single-user labs for the occupants of the building, but a
Yes.
third is always preferred for
Yes.
staff, because the staff don't like to necessarily use the same
100%.
bathrooms that they.
And some of us think it's a really good idea to have a shower in there because there
Sure.
are people that ride their bikes to work.
Absolutely.
And take
Yeah,
a shower,
sure.
and that's very,
Who are those people?
I don't know, but they love this idea.
Well, if you put a shower, more and more people will do it, right?
That's
It's very
what I'm saying.
green, yeah.
And if you have a bad day or get
Sounds
spilled
great.
something gross on your dog, who knows, you can
If you go running
clean
at
up.
lunch, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Do any of you run at lunch?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Is there a shower?
Because there's no shower.
Really, Andy? Andy, I live a block away, you can come use my shower if you want.
Oh, stop.
There's an area in the back with access directly inside and outside, so separated.
Oh, so you
We
can
have
like
showers
have a
here.
little.
Okay.
But you have to wait for the
Table
cops
out
to get
here.
out of
Love it.
where you can get in.
I
I mean, it's
deciphered
not a huge expense.
my interpretation of
Area.
the program
They did
and
put a
tried to figure
shower.
out what the
What was going on, yeah.
number of offices were and so on, so the distribution may be a bit off, but you
Yeah,
get the idea.
that's workable.
Just put them
Central
inside.
corridor, primary lobby,
Mhm.
gathering space outside,
What is that?
sort of under that vertical as we indicated.
Yeah.
the rendering.
You said, you mentioned Brian earlier.
Here's a feature that works very
Yeah,
well, so
we're down to
when
just 2.
people come in, they
I
wanna
see
talk to
Brian, I
the
see
building
Miles
inspector.
doing a lot of work.
um,
He's a good guy.
Planning board
I hear
administrator.
that, we worked side by side with him for many years.
Come up here.
Brian himself is a good guy.
Access into a
Yeah,
meeting room without
I
having to
don't-
go
I
through.
don't know the rest of
Yeah.
Muslim's operation from Adam, but I've had a
area.
fair amount of interaction
So
with
access
Brian.
into this
Yeah.
meeting room.
The character,
Brings
right?
us together sometimes. Yeah, it's fun.
Get
Yeah,
access.
I hear a lot of good things.
I am
We had,
really
at some
surprised that
point,
you
there was
stuck
people
with that
coming around.
because they went through 2 potential building projects and then decided to renovate where they were.
We put a lot of
Wow.
the security
Just
features in. That
crushed
can
it.
even happen, and so I think every time you have something that says,
Uh,
here's where we're gonna
cross
filter, and then here's like the place, I love that,
Mhm.
yeah, that's very really good.
Towns, it's so hard to
You never
get
know.
those approved. It's
I
had
think
so long.
feelings.
part of it, because it took so long, finally, I
yeah.
think people in town just didn't really want
See,
to
it's
renovate
like-
the library, but they
it's
felt
like-
bad
it's
for
like
the
there's a
trustees
reason
and the
you wanna-
librarian, and so geez, they've been
Because
getting
then they go.
thrashed for
Present,
7 or 8
that's
years,
fine.
we're gonna pass something.
You obviously want this, yeah, fine.
Did
you- who's the art?
Oh, okay.
I didn't know this was floating around.
Yeah,
It wasn't in the
it's-
RFQ.
Okay.
They're
I'm
very
sure there's
good.
information
You see them
in
most
here
of
that I
the
could
library projects.
Yeah.
extrapolate.
And
Yeah.
it
Yeah, I think some things were, you know, there's a reason for it, and other things were
Well,
supposed to
great
throw this year.
portraits
So
there.
I think it's a
We
combination of things.
priced the library, got a word every
Which
year's.
is great.
There's such a big building, it's beautiful, too much.
Yep. The renovation is underway now.
John's gonna ask about where the janitor's closet is. I was just like, look at that, perfect. They even has a-
And from across
Yeah,
the
well,
river,
yeah,
that-
I learned that early in my career. Janitor's closet.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Ample space.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you very
so
much.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Go Bruins.
Yes.
Are the Bruins, is hockey playing right
But
now?
not Patriots anymore?
Oh,
Yeah,
the
right?
Patriots are
Forgot all about them.
a hot mess.
Who, the who?
Tonight is the Bruins.
Taylor Swift isn't dating anyone on the Patriots.
Think it would help.
Yeah, they would help somebody.
Interesting.
This is great.
Yeah, I assume that Matt was waiting till we left.
Oh, that's clever. Okay. Can I take a picture of that one and then we'll pass it to you?
Yeah.
And that way I can know where it is one day.
I don't have a turn on my pad. I don't know if I love it.
And I can scan these and send it to everybody too.
Okay, great, thank
I'll
you.
write my iPad right
You're so
with all my
fancy, you don't
notes
just-
about them.
Cut things up and call it a day. Should
You
we,
can cut it up and
should
send
we
it.
hide these so we don't intimidate everyone?
No, I think they're probably talking in the.
Oh, okay, got it.
Turn mine over to you. That's questions for sex.
Oh, that's so funny, yeah, because you want to know. I feel so weird because you're like developing a relationship with someone and then you're like, I don't know, we'll see. It's like dating, it's weird. You just want to commit to somebody to be good.
That may be fireman, maybe,
Maybe.
maybe Matt.
Yeah.
That's cool that they.
Longer than I
Hey Matt, how are you?
Or Thursday.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Rebecca.
Matt Billings. Nice to meet
Nice to
you.
meet you.
Matt Billings, nice to meet you.
And that is from Martini Nord.
Yeah, Martini Northern Winterhold.
Winterhold. That's the part.
Are they lost in our
Are you
building?
guys in here?
That happens.
Well, they're
I'm inside.
clearly not.
Come on in.
They sent the address. It is
20 George Bennett.
20 George Bennett. He emailed it earlier today.
We're just public.
All right, I'm gonna get started because we probably only have a little bit of time, right?
It's up to you.
Hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna listen to you. So you, how much time you need.
Yeah, so you probably are what, 15 minutes away? Oh, 2 minutes? Okay. We'll wait for you then. I was gonna say I could get my computer, so. He's not that big.
No, it's not.
It's really not, no.
So,
Blink,
You're
you can miss
leaving.
it.
do you want me to send you the location? Okay, I'll send it to you right now.
Do you want us to turn a fire alarm on or something and then hear it?
Sorry.
You know what, everyone the first time, so we have no worries.
That's why I asked today, right? Because we dropped it off at a different
Yes.
location, right? Yeah, so that's why.
No
And
worries.
Google will still direct you to
We
the old
know,
town
we
hall
get you.
at 7 Mass.
Yeah, why is it cold in here? Maybe we have to turn heat on yet. I mean, we are in Lee, New Hampshire.
So when they get here to hook onto this, is there?
They've got
is
like
there-
5
Yep.
different dongles.
Oh, great.
This is
Okay.
when Andy gets to climb on the table. This is
Oh, he gets to
fun.
play.
Yeah, so good.
It's great.
So I'm trying to think too, how you're gonna, I guess, cover on the side.
Well, look, if you're gonna project, we will move.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna move this stuff so we give you guys that.
Just remind me to turn that down, Rebecca. I'm hard to-
Thanks.
Involved in a couple of
Appreciate
stories over.
I appreciate you. Rituals all day.
It's that time of year too.
They even turned the heat on where I work
This is
now.
the, can you,
Oh, yeah.
go HDMI? I've got
Yeah.
adapters if that's too big.
I think it's the, do you have the USB?
I've got an adapter that
I've
goes
just,
to
you know, my
USB.
house.
Oh, great, excellent.
Yeah.
And micro
Yeah.
USB.
No, it's on.
Do you know what I do? Anytime it's cold, I'm like, I'm gonna bake something or make a
Leave
soup.
the oven open.
That's good insulation. Your house can,
Okay, well, I'm gonna admit that.
you don't bake.
Yes, I don't
You're like the best baker, so just bake on a cold day.
Well, I've been at work all day where it's cold.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to make?
Favorite thing to make, I make a lot of cake.
She makes gorgeous cake.
Really?
Like professional level, she should have me.
Really?
Yeah, she's top notch.
Have you ever done it for like weddings and stuff like that for people?
So, we're still projecting. I used to work at a local bakery as their
Oh, did
fondant
you?
artist.
Which one?
Look, he's got all the questions. I like it.
Sorry, I like to know.
No, it's
I like
good.
to know people.
Who am I talking to?
I used to be the fondant artist at Sweet Memories.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That was you.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No,
I'm not there anymore,
you were
obviously.
so talented.
Well,
I knew
they
you were
probably
talented.
have other people there too, but.
But
When you started.
She trained them.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's-
She
that's
trained
not
them,
true.
I know. They're modest too, she's all
Oh, yeah,
modest
very
like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
No, I remember when they first were making stuff. Phenomenal.
I
I'm
was
assuming you
there-
guys won't need Lysol.
Not when they first opened, that was before me, but Alex went to kindergarten in 2018,
Mhm.
2019, and then I was there through when they opened the new store,
Yeah, that's like the heyday.
September 2020.
So I was the cake decorator at TCBY. So I am an icing girl.
Nice.
I do all my work in icing.
Well, that's like the biggest part to like the aesthetic of it, right?
Right.
It's like,
Well,
yeah.
fondant is such a different medium. So
Yeah.
it's like oil and acrylic. Like,
Now
yeah,
I
we're
do,
painting.
well, now I
but-
do both, because I just do it myself, by
Yeah.
myself.
So how does that work? If you have really good like penmanship, like regular penmanship, is that gonna translate onto the cake or is it
Yes.
different? Is it different?
No, I think it does.
It's a little different, but I think it translates. My handwriting's atrocious.
Yeah, mine too, and I was a terrible writer.
Not really.
That's why I became an
can avoid
architect.
it.
Do you know why? Do you know how architects write? It's
Really?
all uppercase.
Wait, so that's okay. So my son's starting to become an architect.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Where's he wanna go?
At Wentworth. No, he's at Wentworth. He's a sophomore.
Hi.
Did you go there?
Best thing so I transferred from Northeastern
Fire
to.
department.
You did. I
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
Everyone is so happy. That's amazing. So yeah, so he's a terrible writer, so I'm so happy to know
Googling
there's a
most of the other
future.
programs will do you no good.
Well, that's fine.
It took us to the old town hall. I'm like, oh, the site's right next to the old town hall. Must be here. Yeah.
Brandon, you set the computer thing.
I feel
I'm
like
Andy
you should
Robertson,
hear
Brandon,
it.
the town administrator.
Have you ever seen a mouse in handwriting ever?
And we are missing the one selectman.
Like, I have a lot of messages, unfortunately. They're cool people, I think.
No, you're filling in. Here.
Hello, welcome. We're sorry we're hard to find.
Sorry, I don't know where we,
No, we.
we're down the road a little bit.
Literally every one of us, the first time we made it here, we all have been in your shoes, so thank you for making it.
Okay, well, good, I'm glad you understand. the
No worries.
situation.
Oh, the type C, yeah.
We got a tour of the area.
I've got one, I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, we do, yeah.
Okay, yes, I've already.
So where did you intern?
So, all right, my first internship was amazing. I was at Meyer Architects. This is a crazy story. I can tell it now because the time my NDA is elapsed. Seriously. So I interned at Meyer Architects in Boston, which is
Okay.
a high-end residential firm.
Yep.
And then my girlfriend's father owned one of the largest non-union construction companies in Boston. He goes, you architects, you don't know how to build anything, you just draw it. And what do you
Oh, I've
say?
heard that.
You can draw an elephant in a phone booth, but it can't really fit in a F-word phone booth, you know?
Oh, Yeah.
So he said, why don't you come?
He sounds fun.
Yeah, so he said, why don't you come work for me? So one of the projects I actually worked on, which I can talk about now, was 310 Beacon Street, which was Tom Brady's place.
Oh, very
So I
nice.
not only got to do the design.
I bet that's not the first time you told that story.
No. But the problem is, right, I did the design,
Yep.
and then you get into construction, so my project manager and boss, if something went wrong, he'd be like, oh, whose name's on the drawing?
Yeah.
Who made that mistake? You know, so,
Wow.
Very cool.
yeah.
All right, welcome everyone.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And I would just start by saying that I put Matt under the gun.
Yeah, I know you had no warning. It was like not a thing. So the fact that you pulled this all together is very impressive.
And you could tell from my multiple emails, this scheduling scenario just did not seem to be reaching any happy
But you made it
agreements.
work.
Yeah.
So,
And that's like construction, things come up and, and design.
You
things
guys
come
are
up,
rock
you
stars,
make it
thank
work,
you.
Yeah, and I just wanna say too, Peter Middleton, the owner of Martini, he really wanted to be here as well. That was the main reason. He had a prior family thing, he's out for the rest of the week, so he really wanted to be here, so he just wanted me to tell you that.
All right,
and everything,
thank
so.
you. All right, should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah.
I'm Gudrun Casper.
Rebecca Hawthorne.
I'm Andy Robertson, the town administrator, and we are missing Mr. Bugby. who was
Yes,
a select
but we
board
left his name
volunteer.
out in honor.
Just in case he showed.
You guys.
Brandon Holden, the principal at Winter Holden.
Matt Billings with Martini Northern, vice president, and also do the pre-construction as well.
Elisa Winterholden, I'm also principal at Winterholden.
Great. Thank you. Sorry.
And we have no particular format unless you've developed one, but we're interested in
However
what
you
you can
wanna roll.
offer and how you would proceed.
Yeah, so to let you know, obviously the smaller printout and binded is our original one. And what we did is we figured, we're not gonna go through every sheet with that. So this 11 by 17, which you have and is up on here, we're hoping will all follow on here,
Okay.
is like the key information we figured you wanted to see type of a thing for us to review. And a few extra things to give you an idea of kind of who we are. So, as I mentioned, I'm Matt Billings. I do both the business development, but also the pre-construction. I'm actually, like them, a licensed architect, but down in Massachusetts, not here in New Hampshire. So I kind of have a unique background and perspective, I think, coming from that side of it, where there sometimes can be a lot of finger pointing. I came from that side, so I'm about the collaboration on that end. So that's kind of why Pete pulled me into the pre-construction role to work with architects and engineers up front on projects. So, and just to let you know, so obviously Pete Middleton is the owner of Martini. I just want to say he is involved in every project. He doesn't just show up, to get the project and that's it. You'll see him throughout our owners' meetings, everything to the final punch list and closeout type of a thing. And both Pete and myself, and I think you'll find that with them, are always accessible. You can always reach us. And then throughout the project, further up, actually next to mine, is Stephen Sylvain. He's the estimator, gonna be pricing everything. And then you'll have a designated project manager, who's Dennis Donovan, down at the bottom. He's been with the company for over 17 years. And Jack Steiner, to his right, is a full-time site super and designated to this project as well. He's been with Martini for, I believe, 22 years. A lot of us have been here for a long time, so.
Brandon Holden here, and I've been working in the field for about 24 years as an architect, and joined with Elisa with Winter Holden over 8 years ago now.
Yeah, 8 years.
And before that, I worked at Henry Architecture, a smaller firm in downtown Portsmouth for 9 years, and then prior to that at Oak Point Associates, larger kind of multidisciplinary firm, did architecture and engineering, wide array of municipal government projects and all that, so good background, solid background, and then did more local projects as I moved on in my career, which is nice.
Great.
And I founded the firm about a little bit before Brandon joined, so about 13 years ago. My background's really experience design for the built environment, so I specialize in placemaking and kind of bringing comprehensive design together to create great places. So architects, designers, interior designers, graphic designers, that's really my passion and why I founded the firm and started it. And so I often participate in projects to start with strategy and how to bring like a community aspect in and how to make places special really, and kind of bring our comprehensive design team, including Brandon's expertise in architecture, and then we have interior designer Genevieve and potentially other design folks in our firm. We have all kinds to the project to make sure it's really the best project it can be. So that's kind of how I participate in the work at our firm and lead it.
Great.
That's the core team there.
So a little background on Martini Northern. We're actually based in Newfields, New Hampshire, so we're local. It was founded in 1999 by Peter Middleton. We're not a large firm. We don't do the $50 to $100 million projects, which is good for clients like you because we don't have a lot of the overhead, that type of thing. Really, our sweet spot is the 1 million up to, we'll do 30 million, but it's really 1 to 25 million is kind of a range. And actually, the way the company was founded, Pete Middleton actually did LL Bean up in Freeport at Freeport Village, yeah, and he actually developed that whole thing. That was his first project, actually. And we do everything from additions to new construction, design build to bid projects type of a thing. And I'd say 80% of our work is negotiated, but the other portion, 30–20% is bid. And for us, our subcontractors and suppliers seem to be a lot more competitive when we do that, which is good for the owner, especially in this environment with construction materials and everything like that. So there's really two aspects to construction. There's really the pre-construction and the construction end of it. So on the pre-construction end, just to give you an idea, really is, obviously we'll be working with Winter Holben developing the project, even providing construction information and analysis up front to you as the group, right? We give you the information and we all make a collaborative decision along with, Brandon and Elise really providing that direction as well. That is very important and imperative to keeping a budget down and having a high quality project while maintaining schedule. And the other thing too is, throughout the process while we're doing design, a lot of the times we do almost like a gut check. We'll get halfway through design and say, hey, where are we at cost-wise type of a thing to make sure we're on track. So I always say it's almost like a pyramid. You have your cost and then you have your scope of work, and at some point that's going to meet, right? The cost and the program of what you want has to meet. So really the pre-construction end of it is really important. We're going to go through something else further on, and then the other section is really the construction. And even though we're a smaller firm, we do have the bigger resources, or the resources that a bigger firm has. We've invested a lot of money in technology, in training of our staff. We use a construction management program called Procore. It's an interactive web-based construction management software. And what it does is it allows you, the owner and client, along with the design team members and us, to have a really open and transparent process. You can see everything from the submittals, transmittals, RFIs, everything like that. We can add you to the submittals when we're submitting on certain materials. If you want to be included, yeah, I like to know what the tile and countertops are along, the architecture team helps with that, but you'd like to see that as well. You can be involved in that process. And unlike other construction companies, we really like having our clients involved in the process type of a thing. We just find when everybody's on the same page and has the same understanding moving forward, there's less schedule delays, the quality of construction's better, and the cost actually seems to be go down or be reasonable or meet within budget that you're looking for. There's no secrets that come up, major things that come up. If we hit a roadblock, we all work through it together, and it's important that we provide you with certain solutions rather than just coming to you with a problem type of a thing. So. And I know it's in our RFQ, but we've done a lot of municipal work. We finished actually the Portsmouth Senior Center, which was in Portsmouth. Yeah, that was an addition and renovation project. That was a great one with the city. They actually had leftover funds, had us do additional work for the city, both on that property and another one. And then because we had such a good relationship, we were actually asked to be pulled on to the police station project. This was really a high-profile job because we had to keep the police station and City Hall fully open and operational throughout construction, which was a challenge, yeah. And but again, those challenges and everything, and having that transparency and good line of communication throughout construction, I think has been a plus, and why municipalities continue to come back to us. So,
yeah, a feather in your cap, having spent some time not that long ago, a few times before in Portsmouth City Hall, I would say the police department is the most desirable section of the building.
The problem is, now they want a new facility. Did you read that?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
always
thank
the
you.
case.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a reality check to go from the police department
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
into the rest of the building.
Yeah.
And again, we've done projects with multiple municipalities, you know, the city of Dover, and Nashua. We actually did Nashua Public Health in the midst of COVID, was able to pull that off. Yeah, that was very challenging. We actually built out another space for them to have in the area while we're under construction. So again, really, it's kind of, it is a representation of our dedication to our clients, you know, if they have certain needs or wants for the projects, we really try to tailor to that. And even on the McConnell Center, you'll see at the bottom picture is the chiller going in. We were able to have a lot of cost savings on that allowed us to install an AC system actually in the McConnell Center that was not originally spec'd. So again, doing that proactive work up front really pays off in the long run type of the thing. And we've also, the reason I pulled in Winter Holding too, we've done a lot of projects with them. These are two that are pretty specific and a good representation of their work and our kind of teamwork on this. And you'll see, especially with Mila, the event center, the attention to detail that Winter Holben has. You know, the owner had, number one, had never worked in construction or done a project before.
Wow.
You know, which is, you know, can be a
Different,
challenge. Yeah. And they were phenomenal walking them through the process, everything from, you know, the schematic design to the interior design and everything like that. And it really was a pleasure when we opened up the facility, seeing the owner so happy with Winter Holben and everything. And again, too, I think having this experience with the both of us together, you know, we know how each other works type of a thing, which I think is a valuable asset to the client on that end, especially when, you know, you don't necessarily have a lot of program for this project type of a thing, so.
Yeah, two good examples of the design build delivery method, both projects really working closely with the client throughout, managing the budget, the scope of work, all the way through.
So a little quick overview about us. As I mentioned a little bit before, we do have multidisciplinary services. So this is primarily an architecture project, but we do kind of bring our thinking regarding other aspects of design to all our projects to make them special. So that is, it's always kind of an asset, and we find sometimes, you know, projects down the road, you need wayfinding and you need other things, and, you know, we think about all of that, so it's useful in our process. Next slide, please. So we are unique in our region too, and other firms in the area, in that we are multidisciplinary, and again, I think that's an asset to any project. We've won a lot of awards for our project work in the community. Great rhythm, a handful of projects in Portsmouth. Just recently won a few awards too for Boo Shack and a few other projects. So
Great place to go.
So yeah, we enjoy designing really distinctive projects that stand out.
Didn't your son work there?
Yeah, our son's first job is at Boo Shack.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
So it had to be.
Oh, how funny. I love it.
Even in the family, yeah. And we do a lot of work in our community, in our region, but we also do work across the country and some pretty high profile work too, which is a unique aspect of our firm, and not everybody knows that about us, but it just shows that we can kind of handle complex, sort of high profile projects as well. So some of the things we care about through our design process are things like elevating the human experience. So again, it's, you know, we really think about how people interact with our projects and what they mean to the people who experience them every day, to the people who are coming in to whatever transaction they need to make in your new facility, and also the people who work there. You know, this is your primary audience, and every project is really, the design is geared towards that audience, and that's a really important aspect for us. We also try to implement as much environmentally responsible design aspects as well. You know, we know not everybody wants to go like for a full like net zero or LEED project, but there's still a lot of things you can do that make a lot of sense for the long run, as far as cost savings and everything else. So we do try to really implement that into the design as well, to the extent that it works for the project.
There's probably opportunity even with this project, with like with the land and stuff like that, to do geothermal or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
or so at least solar, or at least create a healthy environment too, low VOC, good air quality, energy efficiency. I mean, those are really important things, just
High performance envelope
high
is something that we
performance.
focus on a lot, it's almost.
Yes, envelope.
You waiting for that one?
I just, you're speaking the right language.
You know, Brandon's done a lot of, he's, what is it called?
I'm a
Lead
lead
Yeah.
accredited
Yeah.
professional, and yeah, we've done some lead projects, Somebody Knows Brewery being one, LEED Gold certified facility.
And now it's passive house, right?
Passive house, yeah, so that's kind of more of the focus now, is really, especially in this climate, is just making a really tight envelope, good air quality, and like pushing all electric
Thermal
systems,
bridges.
yes.
We actually did the first passive house multifamily project in New Hampshire, yeah, Guilford Village. no.
Guilford.
Yeah, yeah.
So it'd be a great story, I think, you just, and community, like, pride thing, to really add some of this to your project, I think. And it also just makes sense these days too, for economics.
Operational costs, reducing that.
So like right from the beginning, sort of setting the stage of, you know, your audience, your goals, your environmental aspects, I mean, really setting that strategy in the beginning really makes the whole project, I think, come out sweet in the end.
And what's been great too on other projects, if we've had alternates and stuff like that, we might be able to price, you know, something that's more passive house or a geothermal system is, Winter Holman's really good at kind of integrating that into the design, most getting that information from you, and working with us to separate those costs. So you have an idea, right? It's not just an overall one cost, is, all right, we can do geothermal here, we might not be able to do solar, it's too expensive, but we can do a high R value sprayed in insulation type of thing. So we have a lot of experience with Winter Holman with those options, and that was kind of one of the reasons too, I reached out to them for this project.
Yeah, and you just get the pricing exercise,
Pricing,
yeah,
yeah.
what's the difference between an R60 and an R50?
Yeah.
Where's the payoff operationally versus the upfront cost, and kind of analyzing that early on is nice, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely great process for this project, I think, as well. And then, of course, this is a community building, and I'm sure it's a really important, new, exciting thing for you guys to be doing this. And we are always open to community input or processes with community or presenting to community, or however we can connect the project to what people from Lee want to have and you all want to have. I think that you know, we're open to creative ways to engage the community in that process if you guys want to do that, or you probably already have a lot of input already. So that's all part of how we work. And then our process, which is, I think, the next slide, Brandon. You know, we would go through sort of the typical architectural process, the concept, schematic, you know, all those steps, and we would parallel those with the pricing, with Martini, and a great design build process. But also just thinking through how we think about it strategically. So this is more of a strategic process, and that I sort of mentioned before, is understanding really from the beginning, really what the strategy is, what the objectives are, the vision for the project to guide us through the whole thing. Understanding the context of where the land is and all of those variables. And then working through multiple ideas is a big part of our process. So we don't just give you one design, we iterate on design. I know we kind of threw in a quick, like, initial idea of a concept into our package, but again, that was just a quick idea, and we love to do that, and we're willing to do a bunch of that to make sure we get it right. And then, of course, just like a high level of communication and consulting and collaboration, I think, is how we work with all of our clients and with Martinis. I think it'd be a great process. So here's just a few more pictures of the Mila project to share too, and just the exterior. You know, this was an existing building that's more traditional design, which it's a nice design, but we added a few things to make it a little more distinctive, like the special entrance canopy and a few details that just elevated it to be not so much a typical building anymore, but something like truly unique. And those are the kind of things we like to add to our projects. And a lot of detail, a lot of great collaboration here on the build. And then we just we had some more in the packet too, but these are just kind of showing you a variety of project types we do. We do quite a large range of types of work. everything from banking, we do a lot of retail banking and credit unions. So we kind of understand that interaction of people and, you know, building out nice, sort of like teller lines or transactional zones. And I know that some of that will happen in the building you want to build. We really understand that kind of environment. It's a little bit like retail in a way, you know, just the way people operate in it and experience it. And then a wide range of residential. These are some of our more sustainable projects with solar, and the bottom middle projects in net zero building. A lot of work in arts and culture, so 3S Art Space we designed.
I love 3S, and I feel so
Right.
bad when
So
I go
fun.
enforcement down that you can't see it anymore.
I got swallowed up, but we knew that was gonna
The
happen.
big developers.
When you see it though, you're like, oh,
It's
there's.
one of the
It's
best
like a
places.
gem, right? It's like hidden in there.
It's one of the best places to see, as a musician myself, to see a show, because it's a small venue, right? And the sound is so good there.
Phenomenal,
Yeah, they did
yeah.
a great job, yeah.
It was actually one of the first projects Brandon and I collaborated very
I didn't know
closely
that.
on, that we just,
Very cool.
that's when I just kind of started the business, and then, so we have a lot of pride in that project. We gave a lot to that project. We really enjoyed it. And there's some money notes Brandon mentioned, and also working on our library in Kittery, not the building, but the wayfinding system, and working with the town and that whole process. You're familiar with that kind of thing. I really enjoy it. So just a wide range of work. We don't really like to pigeonhole ourselves into one kind of design or one kind of sort of subject matter. So, but we feel like that brings a lot to any project, just our wide, you know, diverse experience.
What is the red building?
Smutty Nose Brewing Company. in
It's
Hampton.
where?
It's Smutty Nose, it's in Hampton.
Oh, okay, I was like, it's very familiar, I was trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like where am I?
It's
The
Toll-
aerial-
Toll Farm Road, so you know where the market is and the ice skating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up the hill, yeah.
Well, and people don't usually see it like a
Yeah,
bird,
exactly, I was
right?
gonna say it like that, yeah, yeah.
So
And
that was
that's a
the
lead
goals.
gold.
Yeah, lead goal, it's a
It's
really
impressive.
sustainable site, kind of made all, a lot of parking and hardscape, and it really handled all the water well with the site and the building runoff. And,
We've got, how many breweries have we done now? 15?
Probably 15 or so, yeah, so breweries and restaurants.
Well, the great thing about breweries too is they're high.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. They're good looking buildings, and they're also high performing. You know, they have a lot of energy requirements and operational needs, so through doing breweries, we gain a lot of experience in the technical aspect. I
Yeah.
think.
Maybe a Bissell in Lee.
Right?
Yeah, you would really need
Like,
that
yeah.
here, I think,
Yeah.
this will.
Yeah, this project, for instance, the heating and cooling is essentially free, because it all comes off of the brew house, and
It's
all
really
the
cool.
cool lines run, so,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of energy that goes into making beer, right? So it's a very inefficient process, but we took as much of that as we could and used it to provide, free heat and cooling for the building, so it worked out.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know
Yeah, along with, dozens of other features, but,
that. That was a large project.
yeah, but it's multi-use, it has retail space on the ground floor, big office space upstairs on the left side, high bay space in the middle and the right, where all, the brew house is over on the right, high bay, and then the big tanks, and the fermenting hall down the middle, so it's very complicated, collaboration and coordinating all of the mechanical, electrical systems.
Yeah, and making it
Really expose a lot, we use like colored conduits to kind of expose it, make it a design feature in the space, so it's cool stuff, like operable windows, you walk in, you hit like the nice day button, and all those windows open up, so you naturally ventilate, and there's, there are fans, there's a lot of humidity in the brew process, so a lot of natural ventilation to help kind of clear out the space, and they have those, the big ass fans, industrial fans.
It's literally the name.
That is.
Yeah. That's funny.
So
So you had to listen to a lot of specific needs and really think about what that owner needed.
Yeah, and then, some of these projects, there's a lot of, historic district, planning board reviews, a lot of public interaction and public feedback.
And then integrating their MEP systems, right? All that, the brewery system and mechanical, electrical, plumbing, everything, there's a lot that goes into it, yeah.
Going on there, 12-inch concrete slabs, good stuff.
Well, yeah, we are used to doing projects in historic areas.
Yeah, I wanted to hear more about that, so tell us more about
Yeah, and so, well, the one best project on this slide is the lower middle one, which is residents in the historic area of Portsmouth.
Down the street.
McDonough, yes, and we have several projects in the HDC of Portsmouth, which is probably one of the most strict areas. Maybe perhaps we feel a little bit too strict, but we know how to deal with that. And, you know, I think our philosophy, and Brandon can speak to this too, is that, you know, we want to enhance the historic quality of the surrounding history. So we don't really aim to replicate it exactly, but more complement it, and maybe purposely create a little bit of contrast while still creating a building that fits into the environment and the sort of vernacular of the area. So, you know, we don't really want to build the exact same building next door, you know, to a historic building that looks the same. We just feel like that doesn't add value to the history. So it's like a purposeful method of creating a design that has an intention to respect the history of the area, I guess is a way to put it. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, it's like another example, if somebody knows, there was a farmhouse, 1900s farmhouse that was right where the red form was. And we moved it 200 feet across the site, rolled it over, so we built, and we actually salvaged the foundation, cut the granite slab foundations and used them as veneer on the new foundation walls. And you go there, it looks like the original large granite slab foundation, but it's really just a veneer over the foundation wall. But that's the restaurant went into that function, and we were able to salvage and repurpose. And that's kind of like true to its style. And then this was, you know, they wanted something a little more industrial, but still has that agrarian kind of farmhouse feel, right?
Yeah, things like using similar materials, but in a different way. You know, things like that, where you're acknowledging the history of the place without repeating, you know,
just matching it exactly.
Disneylanding it, yeah. That's kind of how we feel about it. So we can always provide some more specific projects after this if you guys want to see a certain kind of thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
And these are some, you know, we took the plan that you guys included in the RFQ and used that as a basic program. Looked at, all right, they have, you know, the idea, the layout seemed like it was working pretty well. We had some ideas there, but just kind of creating this really simple vernacular form, you know, with simple windows that kind of are adjustable and can slide around depending on how the office layouts work. And then creating this sort of entry element that's functional as well as appealing and kind of draws you in from the road, where it's, you know, it's pretty set back from the road as well. So it's kind of just a quick pass at it, looking at, you know, potentially doing some sort of timber frame structure, and, you know, we could probably use some sort of metal connectors, you know, but all, you know, and then again, whether that carries onto the inside entirely or just in this entry space, and then the rest could go more conventional. Again, that gets in the budgeting and how we do that.
Randy Stevens would approve of this.
Do it?
Because of the timber frame.
Nice.
Well, the
I
other
love how
thing-
you're just like you're peeling it up and then like, that's so cool.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, just some kind of clever, impactful element adds so much. It's just finding the right thing.
And through the walk, we were walking through the woods and everything, you know, you're in nature, you're in that forest right there to everything. And I think, you know, Lisa and Brandon do a good job of respecting and contributing to the area. And I think that does that, right? You get that feel with those timbers, with the thing, and like you said, you're kind of peeking in to the building. It's, yeah, a really neat rendition. But at the same time, what I like too is they're also respecting that you also have a budget, right? You're not doing this crazy wood
over the
structure
top.
everywhere, glass everywhere. It'd be nice if you want us to do it, we'd love to do it, but again, we try, and that's why I like working with Winter Home. They have that understanding of constructability and being conscious of that, which is great, but still having these unique design details to really make it stand out, so.
That's something, you know, we were just generally talking about that too, like constructability, right? Where we were like, oh, we could maybe clear span with the wood truss, or we could create, you know, a real timber frame, or again, do a center bearing wall and something more conventional, right? So we kind of talked about some different ways of doing that.
It'd be fun too to have this sort of special entrance and maybe, you know, integrate a local artist or something and kind of make that the the big ticket item, you know, that entrance, and everything else like really efficient.
Mhm.
So you kind of get the most bang for your buck by creating this like really exciting piece to it, and then the rest of it's just a highly efficient building that operates well. You know, that kind of idea. So we're always open to working with, you know, some of those folks to art or something that you want to add that means something. Because it is a town building. So.
Yeah, we did have a question too, you know, on the kind of got the programming sketch you have in here. I know, I'm sure that was, they were played out like, let's put her here, then there. But it, you know, in general, it did show a stair and an elevator. Was that planned for basement access or future?
That's a
second
argument
floor?
we've been having.
Okay.
Yes.
Second floor or
Elevator.
basement argument?
Basement.
There you go.
Okay.
Do we have a basement, do we?
So we just went over that in Dover, the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And what they thought is, so with a foundation to frame just the exterior walls to go up a story type of a thing, and just the floor, and for them in the future to have space made a lot more sense type of thing. There's a cost to it, but the other thing is, we're installing, instead of installing HVAC system up on the second floor type of a thing, we're just having it a shell, we're not finishing it type of thing,
That's
so.
how this building was.
Yeah, so the
Just a
finished,
shell.
yeah, this
Oh.
finished square footage isn't going up type of a thing, so in the future, they can build that out, but yet we're not spending the money up front for that type of a thing, so. Because the other thing too is they went back and forth is having the basement, right, you know what I mean, natural light, if you want people to have a usable space down there, it's just.
It was more of a storage concern when the board was discussing
okay.
it.
Yeah.
The basements just to have,
Yes.
as a boon for
Records.
storage and mechanicals and that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. There would be some decent attic space in here too, that could be
That's a good
accessible
point,
with a
right?
stair,
Yeah.
so I think, you know,
That's a
that,
good point.
I think thinking of that, how that roof and the wall height comes into play, you could probably even create the potential to expand, you know, you could create a mezzanine that's for mechanicals and storage even, and could be expanded on in the future.
So that would be sort of initial work, right, to do like a feasibility, like a study of those options and
Sure, yeah,
costs,
definitely.
and give you some choices, I think, is a few ways.
We went through, I don't know how many times, the, you know, 1 floor, 2 floor basement, all the things, just trying to figure out, we kind of know what we have, we gotta know what we need, and then how do you? Well, right. And everyone has an opinion, oh, well, this is more expensive, you know, and if you Google it, you know, second floor costs X, basement, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
That's which like you have
Yeah,
different things.
yeah,
yeah, that's true.
we're flexible.
But yeah, the basement, and that's something Pete was mentioning too, we
Yeah.
talked about briefly, and it's, you know, again, you're going down 4 feet with your foundation wall, so again, going down another 4 feet to create some,
Yeah.
5 feet to create some space down there, it's, you know, but again, yeah, and then you have the shell space, and it's still a cost to fit up electrical systems and mechanical systems for that space eventually, but.
And is the town growing at all? Is there any thought?
Just,
Must be, right?
I don't think it's, so the town stayed this size for a very long time, but we also have some pretty strict zoning laws. I think we're looking into a little bit of, you know, as far as the housing.
In general, we see, you know, school enrollment is decreasing. There is some new building.
And we're
happening.
fed.
Huh.
You've got
Yes.
the existing land, there's a lot of conservation land in Lee. You're, with a couple of exceptions, I think you're sort of at build-out now, although there are a couple of large parcels that are not conserved that no one's quite sure what's gonna happen to that could contribute to growth possibly.
There's not a lot of room for growth.
Wow.
And I feel like we're learning as we're, you know, as you're able to have things digitized and that kind of thing, there's actually less space than we needed before, because we had to have so much storage, and as we're able to digitize, that changes it. And the other thing is, you know, as people are doing more online, you know, every single thing, we didn't even have credit card ability for a long time. I think we're now able to swipe. So a lot of things can be done online that it needs to be. So even as we grow, if we grew as a community, the town needs are different. The other thing that, I don't know if you know, but we have an old town hall that is gonna need renovation. And so our vision is that instead of having like a big, huge meeting space like a typical town hall would have, we would make that the meeting space, the big area. So we just have a smaller meeting space. the building, and so that would really be where the community would gather and that kind of thing. This is very much just to get the functionality of them. Yeah. Yep.
An office building.
An office building, yeah, very much, which is less glamorous, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but you'll still have people coming in to like do their whatever paperwork things.
Register their dog and get a license.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And find out about, if they're building something there,
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, you go to the town hall for something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, it makes sense to just do smart, smart, efficient building, that's nice, pride for the town that it's,
Right.
at least it looks like future thinking, forward thinking, like the town is developing.
There's been a lot of discussion, so some people very much wanted just to build, if you look, there's a little grouping of buildings, and that's kind of, no matter what you do, those are gonna be there, so that's what we learned. Whether you like it or not. Right, and I've suggested like the opportunity to maybe have our indigenous community do some art on we called it a tramp shed, on the garage doors there. Very, well, I keep changing the name. I don't know, anyway, so thinking about how to kind of make that, like if we're gonna be dealing with these buildings that are not necessarily lovely together, or the way that they're arranged lovely.
Yeah, I wonder, is there any option to look at that a little bit with this, like more of the campus of it?
Somebody needs to do that, it's just it's a can of worms. The library's being renovated right now.
Yeah, that's
So
where we went first.
Yeah, so that's a stay.
Like, I don't think this is it.
No.
But, yeah, wow, that
But now
looks
you've
like
seen
a
that
big project, yeah.
It's been, 16 years, 15 years in the making, so, they tried to build a new building and all kinds of other things, and, yeah. So the town has recently just voted to keep a building we have absolutely no need to own or nothing, no idea what we're gonna do with, because it's old and they, like.
Okay.
So one of my biggest concerns is how, like, for me, all these buildings are doing it for me, because that's very much my style and what I love. I'm thinking about our town and the very traditional character, the New England, the old, and when we originally had a building we tried to pass before, people didn't want anything extra. No, it felt like a frill or a wow factor, whatever. And so that's hard, because I think you do want that. You want to go to a building you feel good about going. You want to be excited about it. So how do we incorporate historic value while also giving a building that feels really good to be proud of? And I love what you said about that you're not trying to just, cookie cutter, like take it again. And I think it's interesting when you think about this is our spot in history. This is our place where we're going to have, they got to build these buildings and that's their space, and we're honoring those and renovating those. But then this is our moment. So how do you show that? So I think that's
Using the materials available
yeah.
and workforce that's available now, but it's different than it was 20
Correct.
years ago.
Right, and the styles and what you're interested
Sure,
in.
yeah.
Or maybe there's a way to find, like, this isn't a very preliminary design, but in the developed design, to find a story behind the design that connects it to the community, like whatever, like some bit of history or some local artist or whatever, that, so you have the story behind it, the strategy of, it's not just like for fun, it has a reason.
Right. I want
And
to
that's
connect to.
kind of can be the best way to convince people, and also to show it amongst the other buildings. which
Yes,
we
that would be
do.
key, yeah.
Yeah, we would definitely do that.
If they can visualize it together, I think that's.
And then
what
you're
we're
like,
all-
oh, it really looks fine.
Right.
All together,
Right.
it's a similar scale, and also has a
Yeah.
pitched roof, then
Yeah,
it doesn't seem so crazy as when you see it by itself.
right, there's pieces, you're taking elements of the buildings that are there and then bringing them all together.
So what is the approval process then? Is it will be voted on the design?
Yes.
Yeah.
The funding of it, yeah.
Yeah, we would need to take it to the town in March, it would be on the warrant.
And timeline, what are you thinking if it passed in March? How would that?
So
How
sort of
long
a
would it
concept would pass in March, and then we would just do the drawings after that, right?
Yeah, I guess for this vote, how far along typically we get that vote, are we
Yeah.
through schematic, or are we almost going?
Because you need
We
to
need to have
price.
a number,
So you
yeah.
need to have a number.
Yeah.
So like,
It should
kind of
be
design development.
development.
Yeah.
At least into cities almost, right?
Sort of
So
like
you have
that.
detail.
Yeah, I think design development, for us to give a price for the budget, I think would be fine, we could give them a number that we received. I mean, we're doing that with Dover, we literally had floor plans, exterior elevations, and a rendering, and we have a contract with them.
Wow,
Like, you
okay.
know, we have contingency built in, right, you know, if we use the money, okay, if we
Right.
don't, it goes back to the town, but yeah, I think we're comfortable.
That's the nice thing about being a big city is you have a very different, true.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have so few buildings,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
each one really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how people care a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you're gonna drive by it every time you go anywhere, so you
Yeah.
want it to be
Yeah.
something you feel excited about.
Yeah.
So what do you think design development, do you think like 2 months or something, 2 months?
Yeah, that's probably reasonable. I mean, that's another question. So along process points, is there any public input before the vote in terms of presenting?
Yeah, I think we would love to have some
Yeah.
chances for the community to
Right, so
really
maybe at like schematic level, do one then, or
they can bring
initial.
up things we had thought of or
Yeah, you have a brainstorming session before you even really start the drawing thing.
Yeah.
You really talk about it,
Yeah, so you can
show some
build that in.
example images even of things that.
That's a
might
great way
look
to get
like,
the
right?
vote in the end too, is because people feel like they had their chance.
Initially, right, yeah.
To have their input, and they had some choices,
100%.
give them some choices, and then that really makes all the difference.
It helps so much, especially, I mean, I just think about how, you can have one person make one comment that then ends up on some
Yeah.
Facebook page, and now that's like the thing, so like just having those opportunities to really share feelings, become vested and feel like they're part of the community. And then people can also defend, that's why we did that stuff, this is,
Right.
so
It's important.
to me, this is a town that very much wants to be involved in that choice together
Yeah.
to begin.
Right.
We do a lot of that.
That might stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah, so if you do 2 months, you do
We should
like
add a little
3 months, right? You do 3 months, and to let you know, it usually takes us about 3 weeks to do an actual estimate, where
Okay.
we give you a whole breakdown of cost along with scope of work clarifications for every trade. Drywall, what's in there, flooring, what's in there, type of a thing. So
Yeah.
we're about 3 weeks, right? So let's call that another month. So that's 4 months, right, total between design and us pricing it and kind of reviewing the pricing. You're about 4 months until you get that budget and design development.
Yeah, that seems like if you do this kickoff with the town, kind of review like what's been done to date, and then kind of feedback session in November, say, and then you start designing.
If we started November, you
Yeah.
could have a design to vote on by March, and then I think you were wanting to know like the time to build
How long do you think
after,
once you're
to develop, to do the final permit set in the building.
Yeah, so we again,
I mean, if you did design,
it's pretty
structural
simple.
design,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, right, so we would have some of that in DD, you have to start with the foundation and framing plans, right, and kind of get the concepts for all the systems coordinated, so that you're gonna need some of that to get the good pricing together. That would be.
So that should slip
DD,
in.
and then, yeah, so it's probably still another, it's 6 to 8 weeks after that.
Yeah.
And again, you could, if it's funded, you could pull a foundation, if you really wanted to get going.
Yeah.
After it's funded, you could get a foundation package.
Or start clearing the land, right,
Right.
getting in.
Rough site work.
And the other thing too is,
Yeah.
we can price it up front. For instance, it's, again, save you money as a town, and not, I'll see how much will suggest this. We can get a price for clearing the trees and grubbing. If you guys wanna do that, so it's not, our markup's not on, we're happy to do that stuff. Again, it's a transparent process. So if there's any way to save costs to make the project work, we're invested in that for you, so.
You could potentially speed it up if you can do those things ahead, or if not, worst case is how long is the construction? 3 to 6?
Yeah.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, probably something like this, you're probably 6 to 8 months type of a thing, just to be safe, like hard start to hard finish, punch
Yeah.
list turned over the building and everything like that, so, yeah.
It's like 6 to 10
Oh, yeah, like
months.
basement
6 to 8
has a little bit of
That has something to do with it, yeah.
Yeah.
So Brianna, what did you say from design development? what did you say for final construction drawing, give or take?
I'd say like 6 to 8 weeks.
60,
after.
so let's just call it 2, right? So 4 months from November, right, would bring you to February, right?
Yeah.
And then you have your vote in March, right?
Yeah, but we have to have the warrant finished by when, warrant to go on the vote.
In February,
Okay.
in time for the
Oh,
December
okay.
session.
Okay,
So design.
so you need to design your numbers by February.
Yeah, the
Okay,
numbers.
so that's,
The numbers especially, just.
Yeah, the design you can tweak until the vote, but
yeah,
the more you have done, more
Okay.
deliberative.
We could fly with schematics.
Well, yeah, it's still January.
yeah, no,
December,
I'm
I
doing
mean-
it right here. It works out, that hits February for us to have pricing to you type of a thing. And then,
So if
I
you
thought we
start
were
sooner-
rushing you tonight though, because we're like, we know we
We
got a
gotta-
lot of time here.
Yeah, so if you do that session, you know, the end of this month, early November with the town,
Yeah.
kind of kick it off, then that speeds it up a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, that's the only time we're gonna get anyone together is early
Yeah.
November, because after that,
It's
good luck.
it's insane,
Yeah.
yeah. We have that problem with kittery projects we have right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, you get squeezing it all in by before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and then there's no
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah, so you just gotta get it
So we
done.
know how it goes.
yeah, so if we did design development in February and then CDs you had by April type of a thing, and then we'd probably have the building over to you by November, December next year, which would be great too, because we're avoiding winter conditions, right? We're not taking the foundation in the winter, you know, having to temp heat the building and stuff like that, so it'd line up pretty well. And give us time to look at the winter open to really, again, give you some cost savings options too, and, you know, it's sustainability and some alternates and stuff like that for you, so, yeah. I think that would work.
What do you think, Rebecca?
Pop up. More questions, Ryan?
Yeah.
I think one of our biggest concerns is beyond just being energy efficient, making sure it's gonna last. We are dealing with some massive problems with this building, which is 20 years old. I don't wanna do that again in 20 years.
Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, flashing's important.
Oh.
Building.
Oh, yeah, he wants to do construction.
Every single window
Yeah,
is
it's maybe some
front.
tiebacks.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, they really screwed this building up. So, and we've just paid off the bond.
Oh, no.
So that's definitely a major concern, making sure we're building a building that's ready to last. And I think that making sure we have the answers to a lot of questions. It's good to be able to see the building and the space. There's a lot of issues with where do you put the well, where do you put the septic, how is this going to play into a possible future? Can we put the well someplace that we can eventually tie the library into the new well?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And speaking of which, so we did that with Dover, we actually, we had a site, and so this was the site, and they didn't know to do an addition or a separate building, they said, or actually, they didn't even wanna do a separate building, I proposed it, I said, hey, you have a lot of space here, you know, would you be willing to do a separate building, you know, because there's a lot of issues, for instance, there's no sprinkler system in the building, if we did an addition, they have to add a sprinkler system to the whole building, so there's implications, so, you know, what we did is we did a site analysis, and we went option 1, option 1B, option 2, option 3, and option 4. And for each one of these options, you see, we laid out, you know, just conceptual underground utilities, what that's gonna be, the gas, the domestic water, the sanitary,
There you go.
and what those pros and cons are for the implications of different locations. You know, and again, for option 2, the addition, we'd have to go into the existing building, dealing with existing conditions and everything like that is really tough. And then, actually, option 3, this one, is what we ended up coming up with, because the grade actually slopes up to Mass Road. So we have one level on Mass Road and another level down below the basement level on the parking lot area too. And we've minimized, you can see the underground utility runs as well. And then this one, option 4, was nixed because we had a whole transformer over on that side. But again, one of the people from the town asked to get that analysis. So again, we gave the pros and the cons on that. So again, these are just some of the services we do for you up front in working with the civil engineer, really evaluating the pros and cons for you. So again, like Elise and Brandon were talking about, we make a collaborative decision, right? You know, and especially getting the information from the town too. So we're making the most educated decisions along the way, so.
Do you guys have a lot of experience with selling it to the public?
We, for our projects, yeah.
Yes.
We've been going to council meetings often lately.
They're so exciting.
And I'm a former architect too, so.
Yes.
I know
Yeah,
they're,
so,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you want to speak to that more, but it's a lot of, well, there's been a lot of historic district committee meetings, and then also,
Yeah, I feel like this type of project too, of having you at the meetings, you know, with both sides, both skill sets is helpful, because if there's a lot of questions about building technology and issues that have happened, you're like, well, this is how we do it. That's, make sure everything's flashed and.
yeah,
all your
coming in
time.
as a team
Yeah.
to present. Yeah, totally can do that.
There's somebody there to answer any type of question that pops up is usually helpful at those.
And even giving like the building phasing plan, right, you know, showing the town that, hey, we've really thought about this, right?
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean,
great.
that type of a thing, and then even developing a pre-construction schedule, and then, you know, we also did a construction schedule, you know, to just show the city of, hey, this is what we're looking like for timelines, because it's important. There's certain milestones that we have to hit, you know, in order for this thing to finish, so. Yeah. Yeah.
Showing options, I think. It sounds, so would you be the core team to go through the actual detailed development with and then present? We'll bring a lot of coffee.
There's a building committee.
Scott-
We'll be here,
Scott
we have your back.
Yeah.
The
We
select
know-
board is really
Yes.
the core team
Yeah.
this go around. We've
A lot
had
of
some
work.
disjointed
Attempts at other
attempts
options.
before with
Okay.
large building committees, that sort of thing.
But you haven't gotten to meet Mr. Ruby, so we'll have to like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a third member of this,
Yes.
but we have an odd number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we understand that.
Um,
But I think that, you know, we can go through options together and then, you know, you decide the option you feel strongly about, but we can still present all the options to the larger
That's great,
audience.
yeah.
And explain why those were ruled out, and
Yes.
then why we as a group love this option, and that's kind of how you,
That's
Bring it
definitely
up.
be necessary.
Oh, why isn't it closer to the road, or?
well, we looked at that, and,
Yeah.
you know,
It is, because
so,
it makes more sense.
They will ask every one of those questions. That's
Yeah.
right. You're ready for them, that's great.
And then even having a model, I mean, you can actually position it with different locations and show what it looks like,
Yeah, we
and then
do.
talk about the differences, the pros and cons of each location.
so, yeah, we,
It's good value there.
And again, too, we can do the modeling from the outside, and Winter Holman's doing it, does a great job inside too. You know, all right, the entrance is gonna be here, or this is how many
Yeah.
offices and stuff like that, so I think, yeah. Because it is, I remember being on their side as an architect, selling
Well,
to
maybe
the public.
meeting too with the
is not-
staff too, who will be working there.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Just to understand what their wish list is and what they deal with,
Programs,
you
the
know?
works,
Because if the
yeah.
staff's not a huge fan, that will show in the vote.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then you can, when you make the
They're not a huge
presentation.
fan of this
you can talk-
No, if they're.
No,
Oh,
if they
oh.
weren't, we're not gonna win.
Yeah, no, if they're, yeah, because everyone knows them.
I think you're likely to have an employee or two who's not a big fan of doing anything that costs money.
Well, that's true, we're not gonna bring them
We'll have
on,
to
but.
continue to remind them we're paying rent.
Yes.
So it is costing
Yeah.
us money
Yeah.
to not have a building.
Especially in the long term too, right? You
Right.
look at
Right, with
their
no
kids or
equity.
whatever.
We really think that if we can show people this is what we're talking about, like, we're talking about reducing, like, we have to pay rent and then we own nothing. So this is how much it's gonna cost us
Yeah.
to do nothing, and then this is how much it's gonna cost us to build this. But then the future
Yeah.
doesn't have this expense, plus here's what we're gonna save on energy and on other things where that money's gonna start coming back every year, so.
We're at a point where we paid off the bonding issues that the community had. Most recently, this past July was the last payment, so we're at a point where we could lay out the argument that we can move forward with the project,
We have-
rebond and not cost you any more than you've.
That's good.
And you're positioned for a power purchase agreement too with solar, that's something
Yeah.
that you.
Which we have on our, we just installed
do
on our
something.
transfer station.
Yeah,
recently.
yeah. it's for-
But actually with direct pay now, you don't even need to do, I mean,
You don't
depending
need
on
to.
how you do it.
Okay.
But yeah, love the idea of, I personally love the idea of solar, I'm,
All over solar.
all right, good.
Free energy.
All right, I love it, good. So we are, I think Scott is less, but we'll work with him.
I think he likes free.
Yes, good. So lots of options. And also, we know, we've talked to Eversource, Matt Stuckey, somewhere like his wrong, Toussaint.
Mark is
Mark Toussaint, thank you. My name is late tonight in my brain. has mentioned that there are possible ways we can get some cost savings and some tax credits and things like that, or.
Yeah.
How that works. If you're making sure, yeah, exactly.
New Hampshire's finally starting to do stuff like that. It's crazy compared to Mass.
Oh, yeah,
It's
you never
crazy.
know.
Yeah,
Catch up on it.
yeah, we did that at our house.
They call us the donut hole, where the hole in it, like everyone, and then there's New Hampshire as a whole, that's
Yeah.
like, no EV charging, no policies, no.
Oh.
Liquor stores on the highway though.
Yeah, we do have those, we do.
Yeah,
actually do.
it's just
That's-
not charging at the liquor store.
Yeah, that's a great thing to do.
They should do that.
See them longer at the liquor store while you're waiting.
That's a really smart.
I feel like maybe.
We have an electric car now, yeah, it's like trying to find the charging their whole life.
Yeah, 'cause
One
Where
more
is
year.
the charging?
One more year, there'll be lots, don't worry.
Yeah, it's just
It's
gonna get
coming.
better.
It's very close.
New Hampshire was a big gap.
But it's important to tell the whole story of why you design and how and all the things you thought about. And so I can tell that's a big piece of this year.
Yeah, and I'm not the typical person, you know, we got elected, which is great, from a very different board before us. But there are a lot of people that are older and have been around a long time, and they think of it very much as an
You know,
agricultural
anything new.
community.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Old school.
yeah, and they vote, so we want to make sure that they're,
Connecting to that, I think,
Yeah.
that could be something that's,
Making it good for the
Feature.
staff and all the economic reasons why,
Exactly.
those are the things that help
Yep.
convince.
And I think you're on the right path, is educating them. The more you educate and involve them,
Exactly.
usually the easier.
But they're also New Englanders, they don't want thrills, and they don't want extra space, and they don't wanna pay for it.
nothing fancy, yeah,
right.
basic,
Yeah, I
They
don't
want
basic.
to pay for nothing.
No electric car charging station.
No, there'll be no electric car chargers.
Well,
Those
we're
pay for
working on that with Stratford Regional Planning.
We're doing it at
Sorry.
Dover's out there, they're requiring us to do it.
Yeah, no, but we don't have to go for necessarily.
Well, that's
so we're
a
good.
completely different issue, they're happy to get things for free.
Yes.
But they do, the plan that failed before had a lot of extras, a lot of extra space, a lot of, it was a lot of money, and it was a giant plan, and I think that that's why it failed.
And literally, yeah, and the first one we worked on was like a really lovely big library community center, and I was like, that is too much, we are late, we don't need it.
Yeah.
And then we tried some different town hall options, and I mean, it wasn't even that, it was just that the storage seemed really big, and someone's like, you don't need that much storage, and very small reasons.
I know.
all this work, yeah.
So but the good thing is, with this town, we have gone through many of these. We know what their concerns are. It's why we drew the picture, you know, with such, like, these are the basics.
Minimalistic.
Yeah, very like, this is why this is efficient, this is why this is gonna work, this is simple.
I think the financial situation you're in too, where there's no bond anymore, and clearly the building that we're leasing is not a fabulous building. It comes
We
with
have
a
to pay
lot
to
of maintenance
repair.
costs
So
and
you have
repair
to do
costs.
something.
Yeah, something needs to be done.
Yeah, I
at this
feel like
point.
we're really on the right, we're in a spot we've been waiting to be in for a long time. We just have to make sure that we bring it home with an idea that really fits. That's the key.
Yeah. Well, and some design approaches to make it more efficient and cost effective too, and they tend to be a smidge more contemporary looking.
Yes.
So that you can also spin things that way. you
That's
know.
true too.
Is there this kind of siding and this
No
lasts
frills
forever,
approach is
and you
usually
know.
minimal.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, exactly.
it sounds like you know your audience well, and that would be useful to the process for us to design it to the audience.
I think it's probably like, you have a simple form of some kind.
Yes.
You have some entry element that can, you do a series of those to show this, and this, and whether it's like less glass, smaller element, this,
Right.
Yeah.
that's kind of.
Find the sweet spot where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I like it, but I'm not overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're totally up for that kind of process.
Perfect.
And have done it in different manners before.
Nice.
So, we're game. We've seen it all.
Yeah, and I think they're reasonable. It's, you know, it's everyone's money, let's use it wisely. And I think, if, you know, if we can share that we are being thoughtful and not just, you know, wildly whatever, I think
Yeah.
that's a yes. And luckily, we're not last time we were up against the middle school. I don't know if you
Oh,
guys have
yeah.
heard that. It's a pretty fabulous building, but
Yeah.
they didn't want to buy two buildings in the same year, so that was very hard. So I think,
They were overwhelmed. Oh,
Yeah.
at least you had a nice middle school.
right,
A beautiful
Right.
school.
but the middle school had a huge campaign of people working towards getting people to understand what everything was and how it's gonna work, and so And that passed, what, days before we all shut down for COVID? So-
Oh, really?
Oh,
And
wow.
we got all those prices all set right in time, so,
Good job.
yeah, that would have been awful if we waited.
Yeah.
That's what so many developers said to me, I go, he's just breaking even on a project, there's like a $30 million project I'm talking with him about. I go, Jay, you're just gonna break even on the project, you're not gonna build this project. He goes, absolutely I am. I go,
Wow.
What are you talking about? He goes, Matt, if I look at a building, right, 5 years ago that I could have built, that I could have built then instead of today, I would, on a $20 million project, I would have saved $5 million. So if I don't build it today, I'm gonna pay more in the long run. And you look at historically, right,
Yep.
over a 5, 10, or 15-year period, what real estate has done, right?
Mhm.
And what it continues, there's some corrections, right? But it always trends up. So he says even now, Matt, even just in personal development, even if you're gonna break even now, just do it because you're gonna save money in the long run. That's
That is a message we should definitely
Yeah.
share, because I
It's
think
true,
we
yeah.
all know we have to
Yeah.
build this building. There's
Yeah.
there's a time limit on the building we're renting,
Yeah.
and it's only getting more expensive.
And you
we're
wait,
gonna-
yeah, it gets more
And
expensive.
we're
yeah.
paying money to somebody else, and we have nothing in the end. And so I think that's, if we can share that message.
Yeah. Look, a bid project, a $10 million project we bid 20 months ago, we're just completing now. We bid, and it was awarded to us, it was 8 bidders at $220 a square foot. We just bid pretty much the same size project, competitive bid,
Mhm.
to $330 a square foot.
Yeah, that's,
Almost $90 a square foot in 20 months, so that's the reality.
and we were hoping to get this
Yeah.
last year, and the expenses were so astronomical and unknown that it was just, we had to wait another year.
Yeah.
So.
Luckily, stuff has started. to
Yeah,
stabilize.
I think it was in the end the right choice, but that was really hard. So, you guys are great. Do you have questions for us? Do you?
This is very informative.
No,
Yeah.
it's good to
Yeah.
share
Yeah.
more about
Yeah.
about it, what you're have up against you, what you're trying to achieve. That
Yeah.
definitely will help, us figure out
To be
what's
part of
possible.
it. It's good.
Any more questions for us? Or is it- So what are the next steps that you have planned?
We have to make our other select person watch this video, so hi, Scott. There's a camera back there. And then, so he will have a chance to hear all these.
Oh, great.
and all
Yeah.
that, too.
I'll send you electronic copy of this too.
Okay,
so-
great.
Just so he has it too. if he wants to
Perfect.
reference-
Yeah, I know we saw
reference,
this
yeah.
one right here.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
It's
your
so tiny.
timeline has adjusted a little bit, it seems like, in terms of final.
Oh, selecting someone?
Yeah, no, we're right on, actually.
We're close, right?
Stick to
Okay,
it.
what day do we say we're gonna start something by? Is it next Monday?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
It's
the,
next week.
that's the deal.
yeah, okay, you're right on. Nice.
And then we'll be-
Yeah.
Real
Cool,
pull,
all right.
figuring out everything.
And did you feel like this is a building in the price range area that we're thinking of you?
Yeah,
Seen
right.
months or?
Looking at it, I mean, it's slab on grade,
Yeah.
wood frame, it seems like.
So I always say too, right, it's like buying a car. There's a difference in cost and quality between
Of course.
buying a Honda and buying a Mercedes, right? I think as long as everybody is on the same page with that and understands that, and we get creative, which Brandon and Lisa are great at, with that, with keeping costs down, I think it would be manageable.
We like to buy super.
Yeah, it's.
That is the car that was telling to buy.
Durable,
I was like
durable.
Volkswagen, Super.
I'm lucky, so I.
It is that, it's like the New England car, it does well in the snow,
Right.
it's consistency.
Yeah.
It's the car the town would buy if they had to buy a
It's the
town.
car that
So it makes
would
sense. It's in the middle of the road, which is what you want. You want a quality building
Yes.
with not a lot of frills.
that will withstand the.
And it's four-wheel drive.
As four-wheel drive, right, exactly.
But attractive enough that when you walk out
Yeah.
and you see it, you're like, oh, it's
Just a
cute.
smart
Yeah,
smart
wanna get
building,
into it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's.
Yeah, your budget was it
1.5,
It's a
right?
1.5 is
Yeah,
about-
yeah, so at
Very
48,
good.
seemed like
4,800 square feet, that's what, $312 a square foot, so, yeah.
with site work and everything, it seems like.
So as long
Yeah.
oh, the other thing I meant to ask, we're doing this at another project, is there any opportunity in your DPW guys or anything like that to take down trees or do any work like that to save on cost?
We looked into all of that and
No.
we don't have
That's
that.
okay.
We have some local contractors that I think could it could help us at a significant.
Yeah, if we could work with them, yeah, that'd be great, yeah.
Yeah, I know we even talked about like thinking about getting it done before the vote, so it's not, because we're so afraid someone's gonna be like, but that's on Lovely Forest.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's overgrown sheep pasture.
Yeah, so wondering, yeah, so that's a
Restore
thing.
it back to
The
the
DP,
heritage.
the DPW is probably not able to be of a lot of assistance. They certainly, have the ability to help with extra gravel, that sort of
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
But we've got a small crew and they certainly couldn't clear the
Okay.
property.
We just
And
don't
we
have
don't
the-
have heavy equipment either.
Equipment too, yeah.
We have to pay every time that the tree has to get cut, and that's, unless it's during the middle of the storm.
They do a good job at random forestry as needed by
Yes.
emergency.
Emergency forest.
Yeah.
But there are some good pieces of wood in there, and so I do think that that will help us with the cost, figure out.
Yeah, when it comes to pricing time, if you get a list or can get a list from the, town or whatever, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I do actually have some names that planning and zoning from
Yeah.
DPW have
That'd be
forwarded,
great.
so.
Yeah, and maybe we can make it a little separate from the cost of the building if it's something that
Hmm.
we have to think about that.
That was one question on the civil engineering. You had mentioned there was some, you guys were doing some of that, but then it was said also the design build would carry it too.
Is that contracted by the town or gonna be with us type of thing?
I think that we've got some background information from some things we've done prior, but that we would look for that to be wrapped into the project, yeah.
Okay.
So any new work would be done through this team.
Yeah.
And if you have any other questions, I'll send that electronically to you. And if you have any other questions, or Scott, wants to reach out, please feel free to reach out, so, yeah.
And I would note, Matt was one of the contractors who showed up for the walkthrough and
Yes, I remember.
asked questions and.
Yeah.
He loves the walkthrough.
He was so nice.
You gotta get the information too.
Yeah.
I think we talked about the sound facing
Yeah.
building together.
Yeah.
Yes, that's good for solar too.
Absolutely.
You show up, even on short notice.
You're gonna get little lost.
With bonus points for that.
We told brownie points for, no problem. Thank you guys so much.
Well,
for
thank
coming
you.
and
Yeah,
meeting.
thank
It's nice to meet
Yeah.
you all.
Good to see you.
Good luck with the rest of your process here. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was in Dover at the, what's the name of the building you've renovated?
Portsmouth Senior Center?
No, that in Dover.
Oh,
McConnell Center.
McConnell Center, yeah, yeah.
That was a piece of artistry.
Do you wanna hear some crazy about that,
Yeah,
about
thank you.
subcontractors?
Yeah.
Listen to this. So we hit ledge, right? There's gonna be an astronomical cost, so we meet with the city, whoa, how can we get this down? As a joke, one of the city people goes, we get some of the guys from the jail, dig it out.
Wow.
Oh, the city manager goes, that's a great idea.
City
And
manager-
we were like, so we checked with our insurance company, and
Yeah.
everything. We had 20 guys digging in there. I'll tell you what, they're some of the best workers we ever had. There were
Wow.
suits and everything, and it got done in half the time.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, saved about
That's
$60,000.
That building is, it's incredible. I saw it before, I saw it after. Big difference.
Yeah, great.
The key to those county
that's a good story,
workers
Matt.
from the jail is generic cigarettes.
Thank
Thank you very much, excellent work.
Nice to meet
Nice to meet you
you.
both.
We need to officially
Thank
adjourn
you.
this meeting.
Oh,
Shut the
yeah.
audio off.
Like walk away.
Yeah, that's fine. All in favor, no, I motion that we move to.
I just have a question on our schedule.
Okay, well, we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Thank
Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. My brain is done.
I don't know either. So we're meeting Monday, is that a normal select board meeting?
It is.
Coming Monday, and then the 23rd is
A building one.
another building meeting, probably with whoever we,
Yes.
Yes.
and then we're meeting on the 30th on trick or treat night, because you all hate me and my small children.
I don't know why we're meeting on the 30th.
You had talked, at least one of you, about not doing that.
I would like to not do that.
Yes, I think we both, we could decide that together because there's two votes here,
Okay,
so.
so no 10:30?
No, sugar.
I mean, I think that's back to a normal department select board meeting, and we don't have one currently scheduled for the 6th of November, at least not in my calendar. So I don't know if we need it, but I would,
So the 30th is a regular select board meeting, is
that's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, I can double check, but if you guys
And
want to
we
make a
know for
motion
sure
to
that's
not
sugar
do it.
night, treat night, is that correct?
That is trick or treating from 5 to 7.
Okay, so I move that we don't hold a select board meeting on trick or treat night,
Okay,
the 30th.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Do you?
I second that.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. So moved.
I would point out that the 6th is believe the night before opening day of deer season, so.
That is very
It's
low
the
on
night-
mine.
wait,
Did we ever find out
it's
if
the
the
night before
7th is an
election day.
actual election day?
Yeah.
Because you were gonna look into it, because it's labeled in my calendar as election
Mine
day.
too.
The school is closed because it's election day.
Right.
And then you guys said you didn't think we actually had anything to vote on that day, so I'm just trying to figure out if.
I don't think
I
we
will
have an
verify
option.
that tomorrow, but I am not aware of.
Yeah, just verify for
So
sure.
why is the school, never mind. Why would you know that? I don't know.
Okay, so we're saying potentially that the 6th could be the meeting that we're not holding on the
30th,
regular, the regular select board meeting.
6th instead.
If need be.
And that's what happens when you have moms on the select board. You have to have
I would
some
like to go
flexibility.
to Treasury.
Okay,
Okay, I think that was all my questions.
and then, yeah, we'll have to have Scott here to look at other dates.
That's fine.
All right, I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second,
All in favor?
yes.
Also,
Aye.
Aye as well.